Radio Play Comics is meant to adapt the stories mostly of great unadapted, old and forgotten comics from the past. I use voice acting and narration to abridge the work as much as possible without lessening its impact, and to bring these stories to life the best way I can. Please enjoy. Hi, I'm Nick, and welcome to the Fusion Space for today's episode of Radio Play Comics, Mark Gruenwald's original run of Squadron Supreme. Now, it's very possible you've seen a later version of this team in the Marvel Universe, as it has been rebooted several times, but we're dealing with the original 12-issue maxi series from 1985, what I consider still the best version, and the most meaningful. The Squadron Supreme first appeared as an alternate universe team in a few Avengers stories, introduced as the heroic counterparts to the Avengers foes the Squadron Sinister, but this story is set in their home universe, separate from Marvel's main universe. And the team itself is an analog for the Justice League. Analogs are a very common thing in comic books, somewhat like sampling in music, and it describes when you create obvious replicas of well-known characters, in order to tell a story you couldn't normally do with those characters. A famous example is Watchmen, which Alan Moore had wanted to use DC's newly acquired Charlton characters for. But as his story did not leave the heroes intact and ready for more stories at the end, he was told to come up with knockoff versions instead, but it's intended that the audience can easily tell who is meant to be who. So this Squadron Supreme story is one that Mark could have told with the Justice League, but nobody would have let him. As our story begins, the Squadron Supreme, the most powerful superhero team in the world, have just become free from alien mind control, and while doing the aliens' bidding they had been forced to take over the world. However, because the world was still a mess, they decided to retain control for exactly 1 year in order to use their superpowers, knowledge, and technology to turn the world into a utopia, promising mankind they would cure all the ills that plague us as a people, such as crime, hunger, disease, war, oppression, poverty, and even death. These 12 issues will tell the story of that year and that attempt, but I must warn you, this won't have a happy ending. Rather, this tale lays bare the faults in such an attempt, and in the people who would undertake it. Like Watchmen, this is a story where superheroes are real people with real failings, and it begins to go wrong right away, and the reader is invited to make their own moral judgments on the play of events as it happens. And on the people, because sometimes the most powerful among us are also the most flawed. Do the ends ever justify the means? How far is too far to go for a perfect world? Is it ever worth compromising our morals to win the day? Or does absolute power corrupt absolutely? To find out, let's begin. Stan Lee presents Squadron Supreme, the Utopia Principle. At the edge of space, the strongest man in the known universe silently struggles, pitting his awesome might against a massive object caught in the irresistible force of Earth's gravity. It is a contest not even Hyperion can win. In high Earth orbit, Hyperion struggles to stop a satellite from falling. "It's no use. I can't repair its orbit. I'll have to take it down." Bursting through the stratosphere with a sudden incandescence, 347 tons of titanium steel, aluminum, and plastic resin begin to scream in the Earth's relentless grip. The air friction, lighting up the satellite like a Roman candle. How well I'm managing to break its momentum, I'm not sure. This thing weighs about 3 times as much as I can handle. The splashdown target, I see it. I'm off by about 10 miles. I'll have to adjust my descent. 3.5 minutes later, Hyperion and the satellite crash into the ocean. Whew, splashdown. Must rest a moment. Amphibian, giving me the thumbs up sign. Guess I made the target. Hyperion's okay, guys. I wouldn't pat him on the back just now, though. He's still making the water boil. Wizard whips up a whirlpool. Our satellite's got more holes in it than the Wizard's sweat socks. We'd better get it moving before it sinks. Wizard, Amphibian, you stay here and push. Dr. Spectrum and I will go around front and pull. Ready, Spec? One satellite sling coming up, Hype, courtesy of my peerless power prism. Dr. Spectrum grabs the satellite with a beam of energy. The strongest leg muscles on land or sea churn the waters behind the sinking satellite like a human outboard motor, courtesy of the Wizard and the Amphibian, while 4 powerful arms exert themselves on a glowing golden tow bar. An hour later, the satellite base sits on dry land. There it is, the finest man-made object Earth ever put into the sky, the satellite headquarters of the Squadron Supreme. Now a dilapidated hulk. Could be worse, Hype. Tom Thumb calculated that in one more orbit, it would have fallen to Earth in flaming shards. If only we'd gotten to it a bit sooner, we might have been able to correct its decaying orbit. Maybe it was meant to come crashing down on our heads, like everything else has come crashing down on the squadron lately. I know what you mean, pal. The satellite, us, the world, we've all seen better days. But the satellite will keep till we can dismantle it. Let's not leave the others waiting. You go on ahead, Wizard. We'll follow as fast as we can. The 4 squadron members take off. Meanwhile, somewhere in Niagara, 4 more squadron members meet up in the sky. Hey, Power Princess, isn't this where we're supposed to meet Hawk and Arcana? Everything's starting to look the same to me. The rendezvous point is just ahead, Nuke. Let's continue our reconnaissance until they arrive. Hi, been waiting long? It's my fault. I talked Hawk into a side trip past the falls. I needed to see something beautiful for a change. I take it that your tour of the North was as disheartening as ours of the South? I don't know about the rest of you, but I've about had it with this aerial survey of the nation. I'm taking a closer look. Right on, Captain. We're right behind you. Eagle and Nuke fly down to a crowd of people carrying boxes out of a truck. You know, if I didn't know better, I'd say we were witnessing a robbery in progress. What's going on here? Uh-oh. Oh, cripes! It's the Squadron Supreme! We're in big trouble now! I'm cutting out of here! There's the government super military! Power Princess and Arcana join them. Now, you people know better than to steal. Isn't the State of the Union bad enough without you contributing to it? Drop the stolen goods, go back to your homes, and there'll be no trouble. Now, you look here, Mr. High and Mighty. Me and the neighbor folk, we ain't no looters, but we ain't had a decent meal in over a week. Not since the city gang come swooping down on our farms, taking all our crops and stealing all our livestock. It ain't our fault we come to this. All we want is a loaf of bread to feed our starving families, blast you. I think I know why Hyperion suggested we don't get involved. If my family were starving, I'd take drastic measures too. Okay, people, we haven't seen a thing. Do what you have to do. Let's go. Suddenly, bullets fill the air. Gunshots! I'll weave a spell that will make the wind into a protective screen around the truck. Nuke, follow me. Power Princess blocks the shots with her shield as she and Nuke charge the soldiers firing them. Holy Joe! It's that Power Princess! What in the name of sanity do you think you're doing shooting at unarmed civilians? Well, ma'am, they're looters. Looting's illegal. We're the law in these parts. Rennie, fan out slowly. That gives you no right to declare open season on human beings. Surrender your guns, all of you. Now, ma'am, we can't do... What? The soldiers open fire from another angle, but she blocks these bullets as well. You sneaky sons of fishes! Eat! Nuke fries their weapons. Ah! My gun! Melting in my hands! Scatter, turkeys! It's Mega Rad time! He explodes their jeep. He's gone mad! A bit more force than absolutely necessary, Nuke? I couldn't help it. Those trigger-happy rednecks got me riled. See if anyone's been hurt. I'll check back with the others. Stay back! We're fine, really. Soon. There's nothing more to be done here. Let's move out. The 4 take their leave to go meet with the rest of the team. The others are probably waiting. Meanwhile, somewhere over the Middle West, the final 4 squadron members ride in Tom Thumb's flying car. It's unlike you to be so quiet, Golden Archer. Did our tour of America get to you like it's gotten to me? I'll say it has. We've seen most major eastern cities blacked out. The breakdown of all mass transit and communication systems, people scrounging for a meal, looting sprees everywhere. You aren't expert in national affairs, Night Owl. How did things get so bad so fast? And how in blazes are we supposed to do anything about it? I have no easy answers. Anything broken can be fixed, Archer. Says you, Thumb. Tom Thumb's right. Things can be fixed given time. But does America have that kind of time lock? Say, that's curious. Look down below. Looks like Austin has set a row of houses on fire. What's new? Not the work of arsonists, Archer. Judging from the pattern of damage, a natural gas main surged, fed too much gas through the lines and caused a series of explosions. Tough break. We sure aren't equipped to fight fires. That's not the worst of it. If the fire reaches the natural gas storage tanks, it'll send fiery gas through the entire system. This city will become an inferno. I'm taking us down. The flying car lands near the factory. The plant looks deserted. Everyone must have walked off the job when the economy crashed. Now what are we supposed to do, little man? I've got to shut off all the storage tanks before the fire reaches them. Tom detaches and enters in a small flying unit. I'll go and help Thumb. You two stay with the ship. See if there's anything you can do to keep the fire from advancing. Lark, if the fire reaches the plant, give a yell. Nighthawk flips down to a lamppost and follows Tom inside. Now how the devil does Naughty expect us to contain the fire? Beats me, lover boy. I'll take us in for a closer look. Woo! God blimey! Who taught you to pilot this great lady? You did. There you are, Thumb. Need a hand? Yes. Come up here and help me turn the valves. You take the ones to the left. I'll take the right. We must hurry. If even one is open when the fire hits. Outside. Lockie, circle the water tower. Got me an idea. Lady Lark pilots the flying car to a water tower. I couldn't miss a target that big if I traded in a custom double recurve for a toy bow. The Golden Archer pierces the water tank with arrows, releasing streams of water to fight the fire. Twang, twang. How's that, love? Those guys in the water ought to douse the vicinity. The flames are still too close for safety. Brace yourself. I'm gonna give the signal. Lady Lark unleashes her sonic blast to sound the alarm. Inside. Lady Lark's hypersonic cry. We'd better get out while we still can. Go on ahead, Hawk. There's still 3 to go. I can catch up. Well, all right. Nighthawk heads back to the car. There's Nighthawk, but where's the dwarf? Where's Tom Thumb? The flames will reach the plant any second. The plant began to explode. Show up Thumb's kitty cars as fast as he claimed. I'll see him. Talk about close. He had me worried. Tom returns and rejoins his personal flying unit to the larger car. Glad you made it, Shorty. Too bad it was all a waste. The place is a bleeding furnace. The devastation you see here is but 100th of what it would have been had we not shut down the system in time. Lark, if you don't mind driving the rest of the way, I could use the rest. Pour on the speed, Ladybird. As it is, we'll probably be the last ones to show up. 2 hours later, as the sun dips below the horizon, the air skimmer nears a certain mountain in northern Moorland. That's it up ahead, isn't it? It's so hard to tell at dusk. That it is indeed, Lady Lark. There's the clearing for landing. I know that no headquarters is going to be as good as the old satellite, but couldn't we do any better than a cave? This facility is only temporary, Archer. It will serve until we have time to build something more suitable. The last 4 members of the Squadron Supreme arrive and enter a secret door inside the cave. The others are waiting for them. Nighthawk, I thought I detected your craft landing. Come in, let's get started. I apologize for the delay, Hyperion. It was my fault. Say, how did the satellite salvage go? Quite well, Tom. I'll give my full report at the meeting. Okay, everyone, pull up a seat and let's get underway. I hereby call this emergency meeting of the Squadron Supreme to order. Masks off, please. I fear the reconnaissance operations most of us have been on amply shown that the world we have banded together to preserve and protect is in shambles. Furthermore, it is mostly our fault. Now, wait a minute, Hype. We shouldn't be taking the rap for the whole mess. It was the Overmind who made us do the dictator bit. That doesn't mean a thing to the American people, Nuke. They counted on us, and we failed them. The reasons are unimportant. The Wizard's right. The world situation is all our fault. Particularly mine. I only wanted the best for our country. For the world. That's why I originally put away my Nighthawk uniform. I thought I could do more as a congressman than as a crime fighter. Then, when I was nominated for the presidency, I thought, this is it. The way to really make a difference. To my surprise, I was elected by a landslide. At my inauguration, I vowed to myself that I, Kyle Richmond, would usher in an era of peace and prosperity. Oh, what righteous dreams I had. Kyle Richmond is sworn in as president. Dreams that were snuffed 2 years later when the alien Overmind came to our world to conquer it for reasons I've never fully understood. The Overmind sought me out and bombarded me with his mental powers. I fought him with all my might. The battle was over in less than a second. Overmind uses his mental control ray on Kyle. My brain was his to command, and he had me lead him to you so he could overcome you too. The rest of the squadron is similarly taken. Of us all, only Hyperion could escape his mental domination. Hyperion flies away in shame. Don't put yourself down for caving in before the Overmind, Nighthawk. I'm said to be one of the smartest guys on Earth, and I fell before him too. After defeating the squadron, the Overmind used me to subvert all of America's top military leaders. We then declared war on the rest of the world. American jets fill the sky over Russia. As outrageous as that unconscionable act was, we won. Thanks to the Overmind numbing the brains of the leaders of all foreign nations, allowing the takeover. All you squadron members had to do was clean up a bit. Doc Spectrum holds the world leaders with his power prism. Meanwhile, on the home front, all those who protested our country's sudden militancy were placed into concentration camps till the Overmind can convert them. Within 6 months, the entire Earth was one big police state run by yours truly, the Overmind's biggest lackey. And because the Overmind took care to never be seen by anyone but us, no one in the world knew he was behind it all. But one world was not enough for the Overmind. With Earth in thrall, he sent the squadron to the moon to begin work on a new project. The squadron used their powers to build a fleet of nuclear missiles with which he could attack other worlds.
But we stopped him right after that. Those missiles were never used. We destroyed them. And with the help Hyperion brought, we defeated the Overmind and his Darkling ally.
Yeah, lighten up, Nighthawk. It may have taken a while, but we won. We always do, eventually. Now it's just a matter of cleaning up the mess the Overmind made. I think you underestimate how bad the world situation is, Nuke. In the 3 days since we've returned from the moon, we've all been busy with our reconnaissance missions, but the Wizard has been able to cover the most ground. Let's hear your report, Wizard.
Sure. Figuring you people could cover the U.S., I ran across the ocean to Europe. If you think the situation is bad here, it may be worse in the rest of the world. With the sudden withdrawal of U.S. power, everything's in chaos. Their economies, industries, the distribution of food, the specter of starvation looms everywhere. The nations America conquered have revolted against their leaders who so readily gave in to American tyrants. The rest of the world hates America with a passion that's frightening. It's a good thing we rounded up all nuclear weaponry, or I doubt if any of us would be here. Without the Overmind to back them up, U.S. troops in occupied territory were overpowered and massacred by enormous mobs.
The Wizard takes guns away from angry people to do what he can.
Everywhere I went, I wanted to get involved, to try to stop the fighting or save a life. But there were so many of them, and only one of me. It was overwhelming.
And as if all that was not bad enough, our satellite headquarters nearly fell out of the sky thanks to the rough treatment I gave it when I tried to escape the Overmind.
Okay, we all get the picture that things are rotten. Now what are we going to do about it?
Whatever we do, it's going to be tricky. The squadron's lost a lot of credibility by becoming the government's super militia.
But if we don't try to clear our reputations, we'll never be able to do anything again. No one will ever accept our help.
It's not just the squadron that's lost credibility. It's the whole United States government, the American system, and particularly me as president. How can we say it was all a mistake? We were under some alien's control, and expect anyone to believe or forgive us? We can't. There must be a way. I can't think of any. Maybe it would just be better if we were to disband.
Defeatist talk will get us nowhere, Kyle. It is deeds, not words, that will restore our credibility and save the world in the process.
Would you mind explaining what you mean by that, Princess?
Surely. As you all know, I am from Utopia Isle, a small island in the southern sea whose civilization has remained isolated from humanity since its inception. We Utopians believe ourselves to be the result of genetic experimentation, conducted upon the human species long ago by beings we know of only as the Kree. While the rest of humanity was making flint spearheads, we developed a culture based on peace, fellowship, and the acquisition of knowledge. Within our small island community, we knew no poverty, injustice, sexual discrimination, war, or crime. We truly created a utopia. When the outside world developed the atom bomb, my people believed their way of life, their existence, was in jeopardy. Building a starcraft, the Utopians left this world to find a new home among the stars. I chose to remain behind. as their sole emissary to the outside world, a role I had assumed some years before. I had believed it possible to spread the utopian philosophy among greater humanity. But in decades past, first alongside the Golden Agency, then with the Squadron, it was all I could do to combat crime. I could never make anyone, not even you, believe Utopia was attainable. Maybe now, in the wake of this mass chaos, people will want to believe me.
Perhaps you have something there, Zarda. I, too, come from another society. Another world, in fact. I was too young when I left to remember much about it. All I know is that by coming to Earth I gained powers far beyond those of my fellow Earthmen. Yet I was raised by two normal human beings who instilled in me the moral code and values that I live by. One of the things they taught me is that it is wrong to use my powers too much, to interfere in the ways of mankind. But maybe my parents were wrong. Even when I curbed the use of my abilities, I was affecting things. If I choose to prevent one accident, don't you think I was aware of all the others I wasn't preventing? I still had the power to choose which lives to save and which ones not. I might have done far more, but my parents told me not to live up to my potential. When the original 7 of us met and formed the squadron, I was relieved. At last I had others to share the responsibilities and burdens of power. Others who had to make decisions over other people's lives, even as I had. But until now, we've never really spoken of the subject, except in the broadest of terms. Well, this curbing of power policy hasn't worked. Maybe this world crisis could have been avoided if we had all been living up to our potential. With great powers such as ours come equally great responsibilities, but we've never fully faced up to that fact. Though I love and honor the memories of my earthly parents, I now believe they were wrong to stifle my capacity for doing good.
I think you made a good point, old buddy. I know I could have done far more for the world than the random stuff I've done. So what do you propose we do, Hype?
I propose we dedicate ourselves to remaking the world as Zarda, Princess Power, said. A utopia. We should not just randomly stop supercriminals, an alien invader, or a natural disaster and leave the rest of the world's problems unaddressed. Problems which inflict the majority of mankind with suffering and death. We should actively pursue solutions to all the world's problems.
Hear, hear.
Abolish war and crime, eliminate poverty and hunger, establish equality among all peoples, clean up the environment, cure disease, and
Right on.
even cure death itself. Hyperion's impassioned words electrified the assemblage, provoking volleys of applause and cheers.
Ooh, yeah!
But before the uproar has fully died down, one figure comes quietly forward. Just a moment, Hyperion. You've known me a long time. I'm one of the Squadron's founders, too. In my own way, on my own scale, I've fought long and hard to make the world a better place, too. But solving all the world's problems and handing it to the people on a silver platter seems wrong to me. How meaningful will a utopia be if it is a gift and not something man has earned by his own labors? What if the people will not accept the utopia you give them? Will you force them to take it? Nighthawk, Kyle, we've all been born for a reason, to become all we can be, to attain the greatest thing we can. It is our duty to improve the lot of those who are less fortunate than ourselves. If there is a way to save countless lives who would be lost by war, crime, starvation, disease, and we don't try to implement it, what kind of heroes would we be?
I'm not that certain about this utopia plan either, Hyperion. If something goes wrong along the way, isn't it possible we could leave the world in worse shape than it is now? Frankly, Lark, I don't see how the world could ever be as bad off as it is now. There are no guarantees in life. All we could do is try our best. Kyle, how about we put the utopia proposition to a vote?
The fate of the world, to be decided by a vote among the power elite. To think that it would come to this. Before we vote, let me say one more thing. To institute a utopia, we will have to take total control of the world. To the average person out there, is that any different than what the Overmind tried to do? In either case, no free will. Come on, you blokes. We can debate philosophy till the heavens burn down. Let's vote. All in favor of Hyperion's proposal, signify by raising your bleeding hands. The hands are raised. 10 in favor, 2, Nighthawk and Amphibian, oppose. Do you two bow to the mandate of the majority? Yes, though I still have my reservations. In all good conscience, I cannot. I'm sorry. You'll have to accept my resignation from your ranks. Just a minute, old friend. I respect your views, though I do not agree with them. Please remain with us a while longer. Help us work out a smooth transition out of the current world situation. As president, there is much you... Sorry. You folks do as you must do. And so will I. I'll be in touch, Kyle. I think he just irked because we're going to be able to make the kind of changes that as president he wasn't able to make himself. Who needs him? Kindly keep your tongue from wagging, Nuke. Kyle Richmond is an honorable man. His disagreements with us do not stem from mere vanity. I'm sorry. Don't get so steamed. I voted for your plan, remember? The first thing we must do is address the world. Tell them what we intend to do. Think of the positive effect it'll have on morale. We can work out the details to our Utopia program later. I think we ought to present a new image to the people. Open ourselves to them a bit so they can shake the idea of us being faceless, uncaring superfolk who sometimes get roped into governmental insanity. I say we go on world television and unmask. Good idea, Spectrum. Creating a world peace will be a full-time job anyway. We will no longer have the time or need for dual identities. I think it's only fair if we give our families and friends advance warning of what we plan to do. Let's adjourn until tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'll arrange for the television address. Anything else?
I'd urge everyone to repair their costumes. Try to look more presentable.
The most historic meeting in the Squadron's tumultuous history adjourned. The 11 most powerful beings on Earth part company. They all depart in different directions. Cosmopolis, New Troy. Looks like the whole city is still blacked out. Good thing my vision extends a bit into the infrared range. There's the apartment building I'm looking for. Lonnie, it's me. Hi. Hyperion flies into an apartment window, only to be greeted by gunfire. What? Hold your fire.
Hyperion? Oh, gee. Sorry about the greeting. A girl can't be too careful these days.
I understand.
Where the heck have you been lately? I haven't seen you in weeks. You couldn't have been off saving the world. It's still a mess.
I, came to talk to you about something. Us. He takes off his mask. You probably never suspected, but I used to masquerade as your somewhat love-smitten co-worker, Mark Milton.
I guessed as much. Did you say used to?
Yes, I'm abandoning my dual identity as of now. With the world as it is, I really don't have time for games. And now that I don't have that facade of normalcy to hide behind, I must tell you something I should have told you long ago. I'm an alien. A relationship between us is impossible. Our species are just different enough that we could never, have a family. I'm sorry if my desire for your companionship has led you on.
Don't say anything more, Hyperion. Just leave. Now.
He flies away. Interstate 90, outside Mechanopolis. It seems like years since the last time I went home, but I guess it's only been 2 weeks. Despite my capacity for supersonic speed, I haven't had the time to check in with Maddie and Tina. I pray they're all right. What was that? Sounded like a jet passing over. Well, the household looks intact from the outside. Guess the suburbs weren't hit as hard as the urban and rural areas. Whizzer enters his home. Maddie? Madeline? I'm home. No sign of anybody. Maddie, you down here? Oh, please, God, I hope they're all right. He moves a shelf aside in the basement. Maddie! Oh, Stan, I was so worried. Daddy! I'm so sorry, hon. I wanted to contact you before this, but with the phone system out and all, I'm just glad I had the foresight to build this emergency shelter for you.
Shh, talk later. For now, just hold me, and don't let me go.
Stan hugs his wife. Atomic City, Herculania. Doc Spectrum returns to his bachelor pad in a trailer park. Ah, the old homestead. It's not much, but my happily married buddy Stan the Wizard would say that the finer things in life are wasted on me anyway. So I happen to be a modest, fun-loving guy. What of it? Just because I'm great-looking, witty, fun to be around, and more powerful than most foreign countries doesn't mean I have to let it go to my head. He uses his power prism to fetch a cold beer. Now then, who should I warn about my going public tomorrow night? My superiors at NASA? Nah, they expect weird stuff from me. I think I'll call up some of the card-carrying cuties of the Joe Ledger fan club. Give them a thrill by... Blast! The phone system's out. Well, a little juice from the old power prism, and I'll have the only working phone in America. A beam of power enters the phone. Hello, Darlene? Hi, honey. This is Joe. Surprised to hear from me, huh? Mayflower, Fredonia. Whew. A bit strange seeing the old place after all this time. No lights on. Maybe no one's home. It may not be the best idea to drop in just now anyway. Last I heard, Pop's heart condition was getting worse and... Bring! A woman answers the door holding a crossbow. Relax, Mom. It's just me.
Jimmy? Oh, Jimmy, what has happened to the world? I heard you.
It's a long story, Mom. I'll tell you all about it. How's Pop?
Your father passed away a week ago, Jimmy. The medicine for his heart ran out. There was no way to get more with things like they are.
Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. I wish...
I know. You wish you could have mended old fences with him. Your father wanted that too. I don't know which of the two of you is more bullheaded. He left you this package.
The Eagle opens it to find a letter from his dad. Dear James, I know we had our differences. We couldn't see eye to eye on any subject. But I want you to know that I am proud of you, and honored you followed in my footsteps, no matter what you call yourself. Your father, the American Eagle. And what's this?
Your father had me make it for you. He designed it himself.
I like it, Mom. Heaven knows I need a new uniform. Capital City, Magellan. Power Princess returns to her high-rise apartment.
Howard, I'm home.
Zarda, I was beginning to think you forgot all about me.
Forget about you, my darling? I could never do that.
She kisses an old man in a wheelchair. For a moment, the woman's eyes glaze as her mind races back 40 years. When she had first begun her mission to the world beyond Utopia Isle, there was a sinking ship and a sole survivor clinging desperately to life. Howard Shelton was the first man from the outside world she got to know and grew to love. It was a love that the ravages of time could not diminish.
So how have things been going in these parts, Sport?
Can't complain.
Boy, do we have some catching up to do.
30 miles off the coast of Kirkgard.
Ah, the serenity of the deep. How easy it is to forget all the madness of the surface world down here.
No wonder I voted against the Utopia proposal. The affairs of the land dwellers are just not as important to me as my life down here. Amphibian is welcomed home by a pod of dolphins.
There's Hali, Purr, and Rai coming out to meet me.
And he greets them telepathically.
How goes life in the world of air?
Badly, old friend. I'd rather not even talk about it.
We probably wouldn't understand anyway.
What's new around here? Has Mama Fleur had her child yet?
Yes, she has. Yes, she has. I composed a song about it. Want to hear it?
Sure I do, Lee. Stop tickling me and sing already. Franklin Town, New Babylon.
Easy does it. 10 more feet. Steady.
I'm not sure I want to go through with this, Wyatt. Seeing anonymous devastation is one thing, but when it's your own home...
Come along, Linda, me love. Just because the rest of this burg looks like it's been blitzed doesn't mean our place has been hit.
Shortly, Golden Archer and Lady Lark find their homes ransacked and in ruin.
So I was wrong. Our flats have been ransacked too.
I'm going to check out my place. Don't go anywhere without me.
Wouldn't dream of it, lady.
Oh, this is terrible. All my records, my pictures, all broken, in shambles. I better see what I can salvage. Once we leave tonight, I don't even want to come back. My last recording before the accident. I'd gladly give up my weird vocal powers if it meant I could sing again.
Nearby.
Wonder if the looters came across me stash of spare arrows. Blimey, a body, a deader. Don't look like anyone I know. Must be some bandit. Don't even want to know how the blood died on the rug. I'll bet I'll mention this to Locke. She's squeamy enough as it is.
Motor City, Wyandotte.
That's the hospital below. Doesn't look like the world craziness affected it much.
Newt changes to his secret identity to visit his parents in the hospital.
That's a relief. If something happened to Ma and Pa while I was out playing hero, I'd never forgive myself.
He blasts the lock off the roof access.
Hope they look a bit better than they did last time, or I'm liable to bust out crying.
Below. Company's here.
Albert, wake up, Florence. Our boys come to visit.
Oh, Albert.
Sorry I've been away so long. Midterm exams and all. The doctor gave you any idea when you can check out of this joint?
They want us to continue chemotherapy here a while longer, son.
Oh, I should tell them about my being nuke. I just can't burden them with that in their condition. Let me have a hug, Ma.
He hugs his mom.
So what's going on out in the real world, Al? The TVs around here went out about a week ago.
Oh, not too much. Just talk the president might resign. Well, I gotta be running along. I promise to be in again to see you real soon.
While you're in town, why don't you look in on your little brother? Bobby's staying with the Goldfarbs.
Sure, I'll do that, Ma. Take care, you two. Dummershin, New Troy.
Home sweet home, though no one but me would notice. But Phil and I value our privacy, and a simple spell of camouflage is what it takes to ensure it.
Arcana uses magic to reveal the doorway to her home, finding her husband and 3 children awaiting her.
Arcana, sweetie, you're here. Crowley said he felt you near.
That darned cat. I wanted it to be a surprise. Mommy, Mommy's home. Look, Mommy, look what I learned to do while you were gone.
The child magically lifts her toy into the air.
That's wonderful, Drusilla. Now why didn't you take Katrina and Andrew to the playroom? Mama.
Yes, your mother and I want to talk grown-up stuff.
20 minutes later.
Oh, Philip, you don't know how glad I am to be back.
I'm going to give you a chance to show me any second.
Did you get all my messages letting you know where I was? What was happening?
Sure, ravens make great messengers. How long you back for?
I'll have to be out by tomorrow afternoon.
In that case, let's not waste a moment.
Mommy, Katie wants a cookie.
A small coastal island 25 miles northeast of Maslow, Moreland. Tom Thumb flies into the wreck of the Squadron satellite base.
There 'tis, just where Hyperion described it. Criminy, it breaks my heart to see it this way. I just hope she's all right. This heap of metal's been my only home for the last 10 years or so. I know every inch of this place like I know my own toes. Let me see if I can get the auxiliary power working.
Soon.
Restored power to this level, the most important one. I just hope that the power outage hasn't hurt her too much. Ada, honey, are you still there?
I'm here, Tom, but I'm not feeling too well. I'm at 4.5 standard operational level and I'm sustained heavy.
Save your energy, darling. Don't worry, your lover boy's back, and I promise to fix you up as good as new.
A hidden tunnel beneath the streets of Cosmopolis, New Troy.
Seems like years since I last used this private access way to the mansion. Glad to see it's still intact and undiscovered. Ironic how the squadron built this for me back when they used my mansion as their headquarters. Now I'm using it to get away from them. The squadron. Well, will I be able to convince them how wrong they are? Or will they just have to learn for themselves at the world's expense? The garage up ahead. The rest of the city is blacked out, but Kyle Richmond, 8th richest man in the world and soon ex-president of the U.S., has his own power generator. Hooray for me. Kyle enters his mansion through a portal behind a grandfather clock. I don't know why I'm skulking around like I expect my housekeeper to be waiting. I let my personal aides go months ago, the Overmind's behest. Commotion outside.
Kyle sees protesters thronged outside.
Nice to see the citizenry hasn't forgotten me. I'd better touch base with the White House. They haven't heard a peep from me since the Overmind took me to the moon.
He makes a phone call. Herb? Kyle.
Kyle, where in blazes have you been? Presidents don't just up and disappear, especially in a time of crisis. I know. This place is a madhouse. The brass at the Pentagon believes they were taken over hypnotically by a foreign power. The press believes you committed suicide. Congress has declared the whole nation a disaster area and adjourned. Your Beat Maxwell resigned.
The Joint Chiefs of Staff?
Spare me the details, Herb. You can give it all to me in person soon enough. Yes, I'll be there by noon tomorrow. You've done without me this long. Another 12 hours aren't going to matter. By the time I get there, I want you to assemble everyone still with us. My cabinet, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, everyone. Also arrange for a televised address to the nation for tomorrow night at 8 Eastern Time. No, I don't need an armed convoy to pick me up. I'll make it there on my own. You just have to trust me. Bye, Herb.
Ding.
He leaves the phone off the hook to prevent any further calls coming in. I ought to start drafting tomorrow night's speech, but I'm just a bit too wound up to sit at a desk right now. Maybe getting out of this fake uniform the Overmind made me wear and back into my real one will do me some good. Kyle changes back to his old costume. Yes, wearing my old togs does make me feel a bit better. They remind me of a simpler time, when I was my own man. When I was actually able to do some good for society. What's that? Kyle, can I come in? Hyperion knocks at his window and enters. I think we should have a talk, old friend. Just the two of us. Alone. Looks like I have no choice. I don't blame you for being bitter. Of all of us, the aftermath of the Overmind affair is hardest on you. As chief executive, you'll wind up as the biggest scapegoat. It's a shame. You're a good man, Kyle. A good leader, too. If not for the Overmind, you could have gone down in history as the best president since Lincoln. But you won't get the chance now. The people won't give you it. I wish you'd stop belaboring the obvious. Say what you came to say, and let me be. All right, Kyle. I just wanted to say that despite our differences on the subject of the nation's future, I still respect you, and I hope that we can still be friends. Of all the Earthmen I have ever known, you are the man I am proudest to call friend. Is that all you came to say? I also wanted to mention that we're going to address the nation tomorrow. Tell them our plans. I overheard you speak to Washington. We can make it a joint address. Well, I'll leave you alone now, Kyle. But if you should want to talk to me, for whatever reason, you know how to reach me, okay? Kyle turns away, saying nothing. Hyperion flies away. For long moments after Hyperion has gone, Nighthawk stands transfixed with indecision. Then, funny you should mention Lincoln. Lincoln, the great emancipator. If the Squadron seeks to enslave the people of the world to their Utopia program, maybe the world will need a new Abraham Lincoln. And maybe that emancipator must be me. Soon, in a lead-lined sub-basement vault. I'll bet Hyperion has forgotten about this room. Nighthawk opens a large safe. When the squadron met in this house, Tom Thumb's laboratory was here, and in this vault we kept a rare substance Thumb used to experiment with, argonite, the one radioactive isotope that Hyperion is not immune to. Thumb hoped to discover why it was so lethal to Hyperion, and find a way to immunize him. He never succeeded, but I've got a different use for it. He retrieved a glowing mineral. Without Hyperion, the Squadron would not have the raw power to bring about the Utopia program. A single bullet made out of argonite would kill Hyperion within instants of penetration. I'm the only person on Earth who has any argonite. I'm one of the few people who could get close enough to him without arousing suspicion. The question is, do I have the guts to kill my best friend in order to keep the world free? It shouldn't take long to carve a bullet. He begins to shape the rock. Capital City, Magellan, at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time the next day.
Kyle, they're ready for you.
Coming. I've got the bullet. I've got the gun. No one suspects. Be with me, Mr. Lincoln, as I free the... I just thought of something. I'm not going to go down in history as the new Abraham Lincoln, but as the new John Wilkes Booth. By killing Hyperion, I will be making a martyr out of him, while I become just another despised assassin. The world will never know what I saved it from. What the world thinks doesn't matter. 8:01 p.m. From a podium on the steps of the Capitol, the President begins his address before the TV cameras. My fellow Americans and peoples of the world, it is with heavy heart that I come before you tonight. The regrettable situation in the world today is at least, in part, my fault. as well as the fault of those government, military, and industrial leaders who are my aides. No explanation I could offer could possibly justify or condone the loss of life and disruption of world peace that recent foreign and domestic policies initiated by this administration have caused. In light of this, I have asked for the resignations of my entire cabinet. I have discharged all high-ranking Pentagon personnel. I will make public the names of all congressmen who have supported my policies. And lastly, I hereby resign as President of the United States. All across the world, wherever there is electrical power to permit the operation of television or radio, untold millions listen to Kyle Richmond's measured, emotionally drained words. I profoundly regret what has happened, and I only hope that the next administration can undo the damage that this administration has done. I now turn you over to Hyperion, spokesman for the Squadron Supreme. Thank you, Mr. President. Citizens of America and all nations, do not panic. We, the Squadron Supreme of America, hereby assume supreme authority in all matters pertaining to world security and survival for the duration of this critical transition back to peacetime.
Kyle aimed his gun at Hyperion's back.
Please, forgive me, old friend.
Although the squadron itself was duped into participating in some of the activities initiated by the current administration, we were instrumental in bringing the government to its senses.
Pull the trigger, Kyle. Now!
You may recall that I, myself, was labeled a traitor by the current administration for refusing to support its policies.
Do it before he poisons their mind with another word.
But that is all behind us now. What is ahead is the difficult task of reconstructing our society, our world, to what it was before. But we cannot stop there. We must prevent a situation like the one we're in from ever recurring again.
Pull. Pull. Pull.
He lowers the gun.
I can't. Curse me. I can't do it.
In exchange for your utmost cooperation and support, we, the Squadron, hereby vow to you to solve all the problems known to men of all nations. Not just those brought on in recent days, but those known to man since time immemorial. We vow to eliminate hunger, poverty, war, crime, disease, pollution, and oppression within 1 year from tonight. If we cannot do so in that time period, we will voluntarily give up any and all authority hereby invested in us. We are the world's best hope. As a gesture of the openness and sincerity by which we make this pledge to you, we would like to shed the mask behind which we have hidden our faces from you in days gone by. The squadron all unmasked before the crowd. With this act, I hope you will all join us in ushering in a new age of trust and friendship and unity for all the earth.
There's got to be another way. I will find another way.
The beginning. When civilization tottered on the brink of collapse, they stood united against the forces of darkness. Men and women of vast power who solemnly vowed to do what no group of beings had ever done before, to create a paradise on Earth. Stan Lee presents Squadron Supreme. A Small Sacrifice. Dr. Spectrum, Golden Archer, and Tom Thumb ride herd on a shipment of food and supplies, stopping at towns and cities across the country for deliveries. In the city of Sigmund, they descend into a plaza filled with people and unload the large crates. As the mayor thanks them on a stage before the crowd, men burst onto the stage with weapons and take the mayor hostage.
Got him.
Okay, superheroes, back off or the honorable mayor gets his guts spilled. I mean it.
What's the matter, boyo? They not unloading fast enough to suit you? What do you make of it, Spec?
Not sure, Archer. You super fascists even think about doing something cute and the mayor has smoked meat here? Now drop your weapons. Tom throws his hands in the air as the men take the Archer's bow and Spectrum's prism.
I am carrying no weapons.
Take it easy, man. We'll do as you say.
We, the members of the Freedom Force, find you, the Squadron Supreme, guilty of crimes against the people of the United States. We sentence you to death by execution.
Wait a minute. What crimes?
Do you deny that you people sanctioned the concentration camps opened by that traitorous scum President Richmond? Camps that imprisoned loyal Americans who dared to speak out against this country's insane policies. Camps where loyal Americans like my own brother died. Aha! Where are your glib tongues now? Your boastful words designed to placate the masses.
We'll never be able to convince this bloke we were mind-controlled by some alien into going along with those concentration camps and the like. No sense wasting my breath.
I got the archer's bow. We've got them surrounded, Lewis. They won't try anything. Okay, march them all over there against the crates. Don't worry, Mayor. We'll let you go as soon as we're through with them. Citizens of Sigmund, you are about to witness a resounding blow for freedom today with the execution of these 3 traitors and would-be tyrants. The citizens form a firing squad.
Archer and Spectrum are standing there so calmly. Why?
We, the members of the Freedom Force, will not rest until all the squadron pays for their crimes as these 3 are about to. And with this power gem, even the mightiest of them, Hyperion, will fall.
That's what you think, pal.
The power prism glows in the man's hand. Huh? I must have activated this thing. It's pulsating. A beam fires from it, cutting his gun in half. Yeah! What did I do? Sorry, but I can't give you the credit, bozo. My prism only responds to one man. Yours truly. The archer throws his arrows into the crowd as Spectrum uses the power prism to grab the guns from the others.
As for you, mate, something up close and personal is what you deserve.
Golden Archer socks the leader, and peace is restored.
We did good, Spec. 10 hoodlums in 10 seconds.
Thank you, gentlemen. Believe me, I do not condone what these hooligans were. We don't blame you, Mayor, and I apologize for not taking action sooner. I had to wait until we were away from the crowd. They load up the crates into a flying barge again and head for the next city. Elsewhere, Nuke tells Whizzer he has a personal matter to attend to, and he heads for the hospital. Soon, in a hospital outside Motor City, Nuke changes a tire and... Ma? Pa? Hi, it's me. How are you? We can't go on pretending to you, Al, but your father and I don't have very long. Ma, you never even told me what it is. It's killing us. The doctors claim it's radiation poisoning. Squadron Supreme Headquarters, 9 o'clock. Today's meeting is hereby called to order. Hyperion presiding. I noticed that Nuke isn't here yet.
He told me he had some personal matters to attend to, but he'd be in later.
I hope it's not serious. Well, let's begin as usual with progress reports on the day's assignments. I'm pleased to announce that as of noon today, the U.S. Mint is back in operation and the banks are reopening on Wednesday. Power Princess?
75% of the food processing plants in the Northeast are back in business. Arcana and I are going out to the West Coast tomorrow.
Whizzer?
Nuke and I have made sure all the internment camps were evacuated and that food was delivered to the nation's prisons.
Tom Thumb?
I calculated 95% of all electrical and natural gas power has been restored. The rest will be operational by the end of the week.
I think we've come a long way in one short month, team. My group ran into a little problem with some gun-toting reactionaries today. It seems they don't forgive us for our involvement in the country's dark days. Soon as the food crisis is over, we've got to begin the disarmament program. Lady Lark?
I recommend that we be on the lookout for new members to bolster our ranks. There's still so much to do, and so few of...
Hold it, love.
Suddenly, the air above the meeting table begins to waver.
Something shimmering in the middle of a meeting table.
Something humanoid. A crimson figure in a cape and helmet begins to materialize before them.
Greetings, Squadron. I have returned. You have beaten me the last 3 times I have tried to conquer your primitive era.
It's the Scarlet Centurion!
or hologram thereof.
This time, with your world still tottering on the brink of social collapse, you shall not prevail. I have an army of 10,000 of my finest temporal warriors about to pour into the 4 corners of your globe. This time I shall add your era to the many I have conquered, and you shall be my...
Hyperion leaps onto the table. Listen to me, Centurion, and listen well. We have always let you retreat to your own time when your campaigns against us have failed. But this time, we won't.
If you dare attack us now, at this critical stage of world recovery, I swear, by all my ancestors, I will kill you!
Hyperion thrusts his hand through the Centurion's intangible head.
I will personally follow you to the end of eternity and tear you apart with my bare hands if you dare attack now.
I do believe you are serious, Hyperion.
Bah! You take all the pleasure out of conquest. Very well, I will call back my legions. I'd rather not take over a world that's a ruin anyway.
You've not seen the last of me, Squadron.
The Centurion fades away.
Boop. He's gone.
You did it, Hyperion.
Way to go, Hyperion.
That's telling him. We've got enough problems without him adding to them. On to the last items of business. Power Princess and I will be meeting with the new president tomorrow. Anyone else have anything to bring up? Speaking of presidents, anyone hear from our old friend, ex-President Kyle Richmond? I went by his mansion the other day. No one was home. Well, if there's no other business, I declare this meeting adjourned.
A reminder to one and all that tonight's poker night, so don't go away.
Do I remember you saying that you met the president-elect before, Zarda?
Yes, it was at a League of Nations fundraiser about 2 years ago. Jules Gardner was only the Postmaster General then. Now I'm watching you, Joe Ledger. No fancy shuffles aided by your power prism.
Who, me, Miss Jones? Perish the thought. Besides, your hocus-pocus could undercut me anyway.
Finish the deal already. I've got to be in the tank by 11.
Poker's a snap, Lindelof. Just observe the master in action a few hands and you'll be set to join in.
Sure, Wyatt. I'll bet.
Hey, did we finish off that keg last night, or is there some left? Tom walks away from the table, alone. Tom boots up his best friend, the artificial intelligence Ada, to resume working on his own projects. As night slips into morning, Nuke enters his lab, worried that his powers are increasing. Tom runs a test and tells Nuke that his radiation level is over 50% stronger than before.
52%? Man, I thought my ray blast felt stronger. This means that my overall radioactivity has increased too, huh?
Unquestionably.
Is it possible I've endangered anyone? Just by hanging around them? I mean, I must be giving off radiation even when I'm not consciously trying to, right?
Well, Nuke, your body's rad level has definitely crossed into the toxic range. But I calculate a person would have had to have spent at least 5 hours a day with you for a long period of time in order to be in danger of radiation poisoning. How about if I whip you up a radiation containment suit? That way you can be sure you're not contaminating anyone.
Good idea. Say, Tom, how much do you know about cancer?
Cancer? Why do you ask?
I can trust you, can't I, Tom? Trust you not to tell the others what I'm about to tell you?
Yes.
All right. It's my folks. They're in the hospital. I missed the meeting tonight to visit them. They're suffering from cancer, Tom. Radiation poisoning. It looks like... I think it's my fault. I still live at home. Don't have a lot of friends. I'm so busy with my job and the squadron. I'm around my folks a lot. They don't know I'm Nuke. I never told them. And now I think they're gonna die. 'Cause of me. He's crying. Nobody's ever come in and confided in me like this before. What do I do? Is there anything I can do, Nuke? Yes, there is. You're the smartest guy in the world, Tom. If there's anyone who can do it, it's you. You're my only hope, Tom. Say you'll do it. Do what? Find a cure for cancer. Cure? Cancer? He can't be serious. But he is. I can't promise him to cure cancer. But if I don't, he'll hate me. What do I do? I'll try, Nuke. That's all I can...
Nuke lifts Tom up and hugs him.
Oop. Oh, thank you, Tommy. Thank you. I'll never forget you for this. You're the greatest. I'll leave you to it, Tom. My folks, there's not a lot of time left. Thanks again. If something were to happen to my folks, I don't know what I'd do. Bye.
What have I done? You have promised to do something no man has done before. Something some say is impossible.
No, not impossible. If it can be done, I'll do it. I'll find a way. Ada, access all available cancer research data.
The diminutive scientist pores over data most of the night.
Then, at 6:55 a.m., Hyperion wakes Tom in his lab. Up and at 'em, Tom. Morning roll call's in a few minutes. You still have time to grab some breakfast. Late night, huh?
Hyperion, would it be okay if I took myself off fieldwork details for a while? I've got some projects going with immense benefits to the world, and I could sure use the...
Sure, Tom. You know our collective priorities, and as our top brain, you can decide where to make yourself most useful. Take care, and see you tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Ada, I can't afford to fall asleep again. I want you to prevent me from doing so in the future. The next day, Nuke, Blue Eagle, and Lady Lark attempt to deliver more food, but an angry mob blocks the path of their trucks, having not received the last shipment. Lark warns them away, but they refuse to listen, even to her supersonic voice. Nuke charges up and flings bright radiation over them, and they run in a panic. Lady Lark shuts them down with a sonic blast. And Blue Eagle catches him.
Don't worry, kid. I've got you. Now what in the world got into you pulling a stunt like that? We're here on a goodwill mission. You scared them all half to death.
I was only... I'm sorry, Eagle. I just got a bit carried away. You won't report this to Hype, will you?
That evening, at the daily meeting. Oh yes, the president wanted me to be sure to give his regards to the rest of you, and he hopes to get to know all of you individually soon. I promised we'd meet with him again next week. Anything else? No? Well then, tomorrow's duty roster will be posted at the usual time. Meeting adjourned.
Eagle and Lark didn't make a peep about my little slip-up today. Guess I'm off the hook.
Anyone for poker?
Hey, Tom, not so fast. I wanted to ask you how it's going.
Step into my work area. Tom shows Nuke the protective radiation containment suit he's made for him, and instructs him to wear it whenever he's around people.
But that's almost all the time.
If you'll excuse me, Nuke, I've got a lot of work to do. As the squadron continues to supervise the distribution of food to the nation, Tom Thumb remains sequestered in his laboratory, working around the clock, barely eating, staying awake with stimulants, refusing to attend nightly meetings. As a man possessed by a demon, he pores over reams of data, conducts exhaustive tests, and correlates his findings with the results of others who have gone before him. Day after day, his enthusiasm for his work does not flag as his quest for a cure sends him down one dead-end alley after another. But finally, 8 days later, reality crashes down upon him.
It is hopeless. Others have devoted years to this and failed. What can I do in mere... Tom, sorry to disturb you, but I'm worried. I went to visit my folks tonight and, well, they've taken a turn for the worse. I'm afraid they don't... Tom, have you made that breakthrough yet or what?
No, I haven't made that breakthrough yet. Soon. Now leave me alone, please. I'll call for you when it's ready.
Okay, Tom. Sorry if I bugged you. I'm just so... Please, hurry. There's not much time.
Time. It's my greatest enemy. If only I had more time. Oh my gosh, that's it! Time! Tom digs out his time travel helmet and travels to the far future ruled by the Scarlet Centurion to ask for a cure for cancer. The Centurion offers Tom his panacea potion said to cure all known diseases, but in exchange, he has one demand.
In return for a small sample of the panacea potion, I want you to take something to your esteemed leader, Hyperion. A tiny capsule containing ground argonite, the oh-so-rare substance to which Hyperion is vulnerable.
I won't kill Hyperion for you.
Tut tut. All I want you to do is to sprinkle the contents of this capsule in his food. This minute amount won't kill him, just weaken him a little. Just enough so he will lose his strength for a week or two. Time enough for me to defeat him utterly. Ha ha ha.
I can't do that. Betray Hyperion? If he fell, you'd try to conquer the whole squadron, then the whole world.
Perhaps. But consider this. If you introduced the panacea potion to your century, 2,000 years before mine, how many billions of people's lives would you be saving? How many billions of people would not know death? Weigh it. Billions of lives against a mere one. Isn't it worth it to play a small trick on a fellow squadroner? Such a great gift. Such a small sacrifice.
I can't do it! I can't betray my only friends! Curse me! Curse you!
The price is too high.
Tom returns to the present, empty-handed.
Pathetic little man.
Later.
Tom, you're crying. Why, my dear friend?
I failed. God help me. My last hope. And I failed. Tom Thumb's tortured sobs are lost in the night. The next morning.
Tom, you sleep?
Nuke, I'm glad you came. I have to tell you, I can't do it. I can't cure cancer. I tried. You wouldn't believe how hard I...
You misshapen little creep! You lied to me! I counted on you, and you failed me! When my parents die, it'll be your fault, not mine! And when they do, I'm gonna make you pay for it!
Nuke storms off, flying out of Tom's lab in anger.
I'm sorry, Nuke. Truly, truly sorry. But we're supposed to be heroes. And heroes don't betray each other. For any reason.
If it's any consolation to you, Nuke, your parents won't be dying alone. While I was doing tests on my cells, I learned something. I'm dying of cancer too.
Showdown. Zarda deflects bullets with her shield for a TV audience.
Hi, I'm Power Princess of the Squadron Supreme. If I had been anyone else, I'd be dead right now. You see, not everyone is as strong or fast as me, or carries a bulletproof shield. But everyone deserves to be as free from the fear of guns and other lethal weapons as I am. That's why the Squadron Supreme, in conjunction with the new political administration, has been hard at work finding ways to make the world a safer place. Already we have begun a program that by December will replace all the guns and armaments used by the U.S. military and the nation's various local law enforcement agencies with non-lethal substitutes.
She bowls over a group of soldiers.
But that alone is not enough. We need your cooperation to help America kick the gun habit.
She takes the rest down with martial arts.
All of you Americans who own guns will have until August 15th to register your weapons with your local police. Possession of an unregistered gun will then become a felony. For those of you who wish to rid yourself of the burden of gun ownership, the federal government will be offering you generous cash trade-in allowances. Let's face it, guns are for killing, and there are other ways for strong Americans to defend themselves without killing. Only when we all give up on guns can we truly be free. Think about it, won't you? Cut! That's a wrap! Great job, Power Princess! Thank you. I suspect that my uniformed attackers had a rougher time of the 9 takes than I did.
She sure has some great moves, doesn't she, Dr. Spectrum?
Mm-hmm.
I hope no one was hurt. I wanted to make it look convincing. Here, let me help you up.
Sure.
The princess sure takes herself seriously. I have half a mind to. No, I wouldn't dare. Sure I would. Besides, the Power Prism could use a little exercise.
Doc Spectrum cuts the lone strap on Zarda's top, revealing her breasts to the men and the camera.
Shh. Whoa! What? My garment came undone. How? Spectrum? You?
Oh. I'm sorry, Princess. Really, you... She lifts him off the ground by his collar with one hand.
Huh? I have never quite understood your society's notions of modesty. On Utopia Island, I was taught that the body was the temple of the soul. But it is clear that your prank was designed to subject me to public ridicule. Your conduct is unbecoming of a squadroner. How would you like it if I were to divest you of your pants?
No, I... She tears off his cape and covers herself with it as she drops him.
I am not going to stoop to your level. Someday, Spectrum, you will regret your irresponsibility.
Oh, Miss Princess, the President would have a word with you in the control booth.
Coming. President Gardner,
Your performance was excellent, Princess.
I trust you mean my promotional spot, and not my run-in with my teammate.
I must have missed that. I must tell you that when I was briefed about the civilian disarmament program, I was somewhat skeptical about its feasibility. The right to bear arms is in the Bill of Rights, after all, and I could not imagine the American people giving up that right without argument, particularly in light of the chaos wrought by the previous administration.
We anticipate a certain amount of opposition, sir, even as certain parties in the military objected to our confiscation of their weapons. We'll just have to deal with it as it comes.
Between you and me, Princess, do you really think this gun control program will help stem the tide of lawlessness that afflicts our land?
Not in and of itself, sir. People kill, not guns. But our program will make it much harder for people to kill. It's just phase 1 of our crime prevention program. You'll be briefed on phase 2 soon. Goodbye, Mr. President.
Zarda flies away from the studio.
This taping session took a bit longer than I had hoped. Still, since it's only a few blocks from here, I should have time to drop by my apartment and see how Howard is doing. The poor dear. We have so little time together now. Although I love the Utopia plan I'm helping implement, it is all but destroying the one personal relationship that matters to me outside the squadron.
3 hours later, somewhere in the Rangeley Mountains of Moreland, she nears the squadron's mountain base.
Short visits are such torture. When will we ever have the time to expand our headquarters so we can house our loved ones near us?
Inside, Golden Archer and Dr. Spectrum are laughing at his prank, while the wizard disapproves.
Should have seen her face. I swear, she didn't even blush. I made a deal with this cameraman to send me the uncensored video. I don't know, Joe. Sounds to me like you took your practical jokes too far this time. What do you think, Archer? I think that you, Wizard, are a stuffed shut. Oh, quiet, mates. Here comes all popped up now. Hi, Princess. Pleasant weather we're having tonight, eh? Princess Zarda pays the immature men no mind as she proudly strolls past them. Soon, in the main assembly room. The meeting will now come to order. Hyperion presiding. All members present except Nuke. We'll discuss him in a bit. First, let's hear the day's activity reports. Zarda, you start.
I completed the taping of the gun law TV message. It should be edited and ready to air by Friday. President Gardner was present. He expressed some reservations about the effectiveness of the law.
Uh-oh. Here it comes. She's gonna get back at me by reporting me to Hype.
But, anything to add, Spectrum?
Nope. The princess said it all. She didn't squeal. What a sport.
I can report that every gun and ammunition factory in America has been shut down. Archer, Lark, how did the personal appearance in Angelopolis go?
It was a smash. The bloggers turned out in droves to see Miguel. Pop music superstar turned crime-busting superstar. The one, the only Linda Lewis, alias Lady Locke.
Ahem. It seems strange to me that people would value the opinion of an ex-entertainment figure so highly. But if it helps our program, I'll exploit my fame any day.
And after the remaining 5 members summarize their day's activities. Okay, before we get to what's on the agenda for tomorrow, let's talk about Nuke. This makes the 28th meeting he's missed. Due to the relentless demands of our activities, we haven't been able to spare the time to look for him. Well, I think it's well past time we made finding him a priority. Does anybody have any clue to his whereabouts or the reason for his absence?
If only I could tell them all what I know. It might be of some help. It was almost 2 months ago that Nuke first approached me with his problem. I can trust you, can't I, Tom? Trust you not to tell the others what I'm about to tell you? It's my folks. They're in the hospital, suffering from cancer, Tom. Radiation poisoning. I think it's my fault. You're my only hope, Tom. Say you'll do it. Find a cure for cancer. I was so touched by the kid confiding in me like that. Like a fool, I said I'd do it. After making him a radiation containment suit, I spent the next few weeks trying desperately to find a cure. Ultimately, there was too little time, and when I told Nuke I failed, he flipped out. When my parents die, it'll be your fault, not mine. And when they do, I'll make you pay for it.
Not with the last any of us saw the kid. I wish I could admit to what I know. But the others would think even less of me than they do, if they knew how I let him down. Our various task forces are sufficiently underway that I'm sure we could spare one member to look for Nuke. Volunteers?
Well, considering my speed, I suppose I'm best suited for reconnaissance work.
Zarda raises her hand.
I have a better volunteer. Dr. Spectrum has gone out on the town with Nuke on several occasions. He probably knows him better than the rest of us. Reason demands Spectrum go.
Why, that miserable!
How about it, Spectrum? Well, I must tell you that Nuki and I only went drinking once or twice. He got to be a bit of a nuisance, like having your kid brother tag along, so I
could tell by the look on Hype's puss I'm not squeaking out of this one.
All right. I'll do it.
Good. Now then, let's determine tomorrow's other work assignments.
And as the squadron conducts its final business of the night, Spectrum remains uncharacteristically silent.
Finally. All right, meeting adjourned. See you at 7, everyone.
Say, Princess, can I have my cape back? Cute how you stuck me like that. Guess this makes us even, huh?
Not by a long shot, Buster. Oh, and you really ought to wash this thing once in a while.
Zarda throws his cape at him.
Excuse me, Spec. I just recalled something Nuke told me. Something about his folks being sick. You ought to check out the hospitals in Nuke's hometown.
Thanks, Pee-wee. I'll do that. Suppose I could wait till tomorrow to get started, but I want this detail over with quick. Maybe if I find the punk tonight, I can still get back in time to get some poker in. Nah, who am I kidding? It's gonna take me days to find what hole that squirt is playing hooky in.
Dr. Spectrum takes off alone to begin his search for Nuke. By searching his memory of the times he spent with Nuke off hours, he eventually finds his hometown. Spectrum comes across a large glowing crater in a field and believes he is getting closer. He finds the bar Nuke once took him to and enters it. Some men in the bar give him the location of the nearest hospital, though not without some convincing. Having gotten his parents' names from a phone book, he inquires about them at the nurse's station and learns they have passed away. The nurse gives him their address, and he checks on the house. Meanwhile, Amphibian, Wither, and Arcana are dispatched to resolve a riot at a gun factory. Arcana magically summons a whirlwind to slowly take her and Wither to the ground as Amphibian lands their flying craft. The rioters fill the air with gunfire. As the vast fusillade of bullets rains skyward, the Wizard concentrates, activating his hyper-accelerated senses. Suddenly, the bullets seem to hang languidly in the air. In what appears to Arcana as a mere blur, her teammate clears a bulletless path to the ground for them both. The instant they land, Wizard speeds into the crowd to collect their guns. Okay, Arcana, you're on your... Oops, I forgot my words will sound to her like a high-pitched bleed while I'm moving at this speed. As for these good old boys, they ought to thank me for slowing down enough that I don't take their fingers off as I yank the guns out of their hands. Nearby.
I wish my influence over metals was as strong as that for moving wood and wind and water. But there's more than one way to separate a hostile crowd from their firearms. Directed gusts of gale force wind should rip the guns right out of their hands.
Arcana sweeps more of their guns away with strong winds. Hey! And after scattering a crowd of 30-some,
now I'd like to have words with one of these rioters.
She pins one of the rioters to a fence.
Hold it there, friend. Mind telling me the point of all this?
As if you couldn't guess, witch. We know what you're up to. Your gun registration program, your closing of factories. Admit it. Your next step is total confiscation. We're all just stocking up with guns and ammo while we still can.
But why?
Look, witch lady, you have your fancy powers to protect you, but what do us normal guys have? Guns. You take them away from us, and we'll have nothing to protect ourselves with if you and the feds go crazy again.
Listen, young man. You have my words that the squadron only means the best for you. For everyone. You have nothing to fear from us. Ever.
I'll only believe that with a gun in my hand, lady. She releases him.
Well, thanks for talking to me. I have a feeling that what that man told me goes for almost everyone here. It almost makes me wonder if we've totally thought through what we're doing. Well, personally, I detest guns.
Whizzer piles all the guns up against the building.
Good show, Whizzer. By the time Amphibian gets here, there'll be nothing left to do.
That's because I'm in a hurry to salvage what sleep I can tonight. And while the Wizard, Arcana, and the Amphibian disperse the mob in the southwest, in the northeast, Dr. Spectrum has located Nuke's younger brother at a neighbor's house. So, if you don't mind, Mr. Schiff, I'd like to speak to Scotty here alone.
Go right ahead. Sure you don't want a beer?
This is awesome. You dropping by to see me, Dr. Spectrum?
Call me Spec, Scotty.
Sure. Know what? I got almost a complete set of Squadron action figures. And no lie, I've got 2 Dr. Spectrums. You're my favorite squatter, Spec?
I'm honored, Scotty. Now tell me something. Have you seen your brother Al lately?
Not since Pop's funeral the other week. How come? You know my brother?
I guess your brother never told you his secret then, did he? Well, Scotty, if you'd watched that TV special a few months back where we Squadroners unmasked, and you looked very hard, you might have noticed that your brother is none other than Nuke.
Go on.
It's true, Nuke's been skipping squadron meetings for about a month now, and it's my job to find out why. Do you have any idea where Al might be?
Well, maybe. But if I tell you, will you take me flying with you?
After securing permission from Scott's guardians, Dr. Spectrum flies with the child in a small capsule. Okay, Chief, hang tight, and we're off.
Yahoo! This is great!
Which way?
North, toward the lake.
After scouting several of Al Gaines' usual hangouts known to his brother. This is the cemetery where your folks are resting,
I think so. I'm not sure since I was only there twice and it was daylight both times. Wait, Dr. Spectrum, I remember seeing that angel statue. This is the... Hey, there's someone there. Al?
They find Nuke sitting at his parents' grave and race towards him.
Al, you are Nuke.
Scotty, what are you... Spectrum, why'd you bring him here? Scotty, go away. I don't want you to see me. Didn't want you to know. Nuke doesn't look too good, like he hasn't eaten or slept in days. Why are you butting into my life? You didn't give a hang about me. None of you do. You're one of the squadron, kid, remember? The squadron takes care of their own.
Like blazes they do.
Look, I know you must still be upset about your parents' deaths. I'm real sorry about them. I
don't want your pity, Spectrum. Not from any of you. It's all you guys' fault that it happened.
What do you mean?
I mean Tom Thumb. He had the ability to save my parents, and he refused to. That stinking dwarf. You tell that waddling pile of ape hair I'm coming for him, and I'm going to pay him back in spades for what he did. Now take Scotty and get out of my face.
Nuke's gone beyond being grief-stricken. He's teetering on the brink of Looney Town. Why the heck is he ranting about Thumb? Come on, Nukie, chill out a bit. I'm here to help you, I swear it. Come on, let's go and have a beer like we... Forget it, Speckles. I've had it with you and your phony one for all for one crap. Now get out of here before I... Okay, I'm leaving. I just have one question for you before I go. I saw a glowing crater just outside the city. You wouldn't know how it got there, would you?
Sure I do. Like this.
Nuke tears up the earth with a blast of energy, and his little brother hides behind a tombstone.
Oh man, I never saw Al like this. He's nuts. I'm afraid.
Now hold it, Nuke. I was willing to let your crazy talk slide, but when you start threatening folks and trashing property, that's where I've got to draw the line.
You could draw the line up your ear for all I care. I don't trust you, Spectrum. I better go and off the dwarf before you or one of the others tries to mess with me.
Nuke flies off in a rage. He means it.
Dr. Spectrum, what's happened to him? He was never like that before. He scared me.
I think he's just very upset about your parents, Scotty. Come on, I'll take you back to the ships.
Are you going to chase after Al?
Someone's going to have to stop him before he hurts himself. Doc carries the boy back home. And I just want to know why that someone has to be me. Nuke's got about a 5-minute head start on me, but at least I know where he's headed. Squadron headquarters. We never compared flight speeds before, Nuke and me. I wonder if my power prism has the thrust to let me catch up. I better make me a wind visor. 10 minutes at peak velocity, and... What's this? A vapor trail of sorts. Nukes, I'll bet. No time to catch my breath. Gotta pour it on. There he is, tearing across the sky like a fireball. I better play it safe, in case I'm in a power bubble. Doc Spectrum wraps Nuke in an energy field.
What the?
He breaks free with explosive force.
Blast you, wise guy! I'm only killing you once! Buzz off! I've got no quarrel with you now, only the dwarf. But if you mess with me, old man, I'll waste you too.
Old man?
Why, that runny-nosed punk! Temper. I don't want to get carried away like him. No use even talking to him anymore. The twerp is too far gone. The best thing to do is knock him out as quickly as possible and hand him over to the squadron. They can figure out what to do with him.
Eat Adams, Crete! Both squadron members fire their energy attacks at each other, which meet in a beam duel.
This radiation beam. Stronger than I expected.
What's the matter, Spectrum? Too hard pressed keeping up with me to talk? Well, if you thought a one-arm blast was something, dig this! Nuke adds his other hand to his attack.
Can't believe how much energy he's putting out. Just how powerful is this kid? In terms of sheer power, it feels like the kid has the edge over me. What should I know. I'll just have to outmaneuver him. Like this.
Spectrum splits his beam into several and arcs them around Nuke's blast. They wrap around him tightly like cables.
Blast you, Spectrum! I'll kill you for this! As soon as I break free! Even with his arms pinned to his sides, Nuke's managing to make a radioactive mess of the countryside. I'll try the old bubble again. Maybe I can contain the blast and the radiation.
He encloses Nuke in an energy sphere once more, straining to contain him.
He's fighting me, generating more and more of that bionuclear energy of his. It's eating through my bubble.
Nuke's radiation bursts from the bubble like solar flares from the sun.
Gotta concentrate. Make the walls of my containment sphere thicker. Thicker!
The bubble grows larger and larger as Doc adds more layers to it.
Yeah, I think I've done it. I don't see any more radiation leakage. In fact, I don't even feel Nuke's force blast. Has he stopped shooting them? Is he trying to fake me out? If he is, I'll have to chance it. I wouldn't want him to.
He opens the bubble and Nuke falls out.
He's not faking. He's falling like he's unconscious.
Spec catches Nuke.
Caught him. If Nuke is playing possum, he sure is making me fall for it. He hit my mattress like a sack of potatoes. Now he's not stirring. Is he even breathing? Did he burn up all the air inside the bubble with his energy blasting? The kid's not breathing. I'll use mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. I don't care how radioactive he is.
He attempts to perform CPR on his fallen teammate. 2 minutes. 3 minutes pass.
Respond, blast you, Nuke! Don't do this! Breathe! Breathe!
Another desperate minute passes.
Oh, no! He's gone! Couldn't save him! Couldn't! It's as if I killed him! But I didn't mean... What's the use? Who'll believe it's an accident? Maybe if I leave him somewhere, tell the squadron I was never able to find him, I could hide him where they'd never know. Oh, Lord, what am I thinking? I'd never live with myself if I did that. I'm going to have to own up to what happened. Take the consequences like a man.
Doc heads for the base with Nuke's body in tow. Squadron headquarters, 1.5 hours later. Most of America's Supreme Protectors have retired for the evening. Most, but not all, as Hyperion, Sarda, and Tom Thumb await Spectrum's arrival.
Spectrum, you're back. You found Nuke?
Yes. I found him all right. And I killed him. He collapses in grief as he confesses.
I didn't mean to. He was acting crazy, destroying property, threatening to kill. I just tried to restrain him, but he burned up the air in my bubble and... I'm so sorry. So terribly, terribly sorry.
Zarda holds him and comforts him with her expansive compassion.
Take it easy, Joe. We know you didn't mean for it to happen. We know how you really felt about Nuke.
Thanks, Sarda.
Among his other feelings, we can be sure he now also deeply regrets his insult to her. 2 days later, the squadron has investigated Spectrum's account of Nuke's death and exonerated his actions. But the ordeal is not yet over. Dr. Spectrum returns to visit Nuke's little brother.
Dr. Spectrum, hi!
Hello, Scotty.
I'm so glad you came back. Look, my new dad got me new action figures to replace the ones I wore out.
Scott, about your brother.
Something bad happened to him, right? Like with Mom and Pop.
I'm afraid so, Scott.
He didn't die fighting a supervillain, did he?
No, he died fighting me. It was an accident. I had to stop him before he hurt someone. I just used too much force, I guess. I messed up real bad.
My brother was acting real weird, not like his usual self. I guess he had it coming. Al wasn't a very good superhero, was he?
You're wrong, Scott. He was. He did many things in his career that made me proud to have known him. But, like all of us, he was only human, and I wish with all my might this hadn't happened. But it did, and all I can ask is that you remember your brother for all the good things he's done, and that someday you find it in yourself to forgive me for the bad thing I've done.
It's all right, Dr. Spectrum.
Change of heart. Blue Eagle smashes through the window of a building in a military base that has been taken over by revolutionaries opposing the Squadron's takeover. He blocks their gunfire with his shield before becoming overwhelmed by their numbers. The door blows in from Lady Lark's sonic scream. Their bullets bounce off her new force field belt developed by Tom Thumb. Free to move once again, Blue Eagle deploys a small device on the floor. At his signal, Lady Lark uses her powers to activate the device, which then emits a signal that causes all the soldiers to fall asleep. Eagle flies Lark out of the building, and she tries not to let it show how her affection for him is growing. Below, the Wizard rushes around the parking lot outside, taking out more soldiers at top speed. While he works, Amphibian and Power Princess take on the heavy artillery nearby, as a tank rolls out and fires on Zarda. She blocks the shot with her shield, but is still blasted back by the force. She hurls her shield into the cannon's barrel, splitting the metal apart, but also becoming stuck. Amphibian pulls it free and returns it to her. He then bends the barrel with his powerful muscles. Zarda lifts the tank's edge, and he helps her topple it over as the drivers escape. As they head for the main armory, Arcana pilots a flying car while Golden Archer takes out soldiers on the rooftops. The men are undeterred though, and one returns fire with a bazooka, hitting the craft. Arcana manages to save herself from falling with a strong updraft, but the Archer is too far away and she can barely slow his fall. He bounces off a building and hits the ground hard. Arcana, angered, sets the bazooka soldier's clothes on fire. Golden Archer protects himself with a smokescreen arrow as his force field belt shorts out, damaged in the fall. As he tries to find safety, he runs smack into a soldier with a machine gun. As he opens fire, it seems the Archer is done for. But luckily, Wizard catches all the bullets and takes the man's gun. Archer socks the soldier, knocking him out. Inside the base's command center, Zarda and Amphibian have cornered the leader, but he refuses to surrender. That is, until Hyperion arrives, smashing through several buildings, and the battle is truly over. Within minutes, all active resistance is crushed. The confiscated guns are piled up high, and the unharmed men are lined up and marched into trucks to be jailed. Sorry it took me so long to get here, Zarda. I spotted a party of spy planes about to fly over the northern border and had to escort them back to their motherland. Looks like you folks took all the fight out of these boys. All I had to do was mop up a bit.
Come now, High. You did considerably more than that. I managed to speak to the ringleader of this insurrection, General Chapman. It seems he and his men did not like our recent program to disarm the military, so they decided to hole up here at Fort Largo and make a stand. The misguided fools.
Say, Hyperion, I've combed every inch of the base and gathered every single weapon. If you got things under control, I'd like to go visit Dr. Spectrum.
Go ahead, Wizard.
Hey, Ladybird, Wizard Mayor gonna drop in on Spec. Wanna come?
No, I better stay and help with the cleanup.
Later, babe.
Don't know how you put up with that dime store Romeo, Linda.
Neither do I, Jim.
With one of the 4 air cars totaled and us taking another, the ride back for the rest of the gang is gonna be a mite crowded. So what? Hot Sauce trying to promote togetherness and the like? Hope Lockie doesn't have to sit on anybody's lap. Say, Stanley, all kidding aside, I gotta thank you again for hauling my fat out of the fire. I swear I saw my life flash before my eyes. I'm glad I happened to be there, Wyatt. I
I sure wouldn't want to see the squadron lose another member in just over a month.
An hour later, Whizzer and Archer's air car passes over Heagletown, Dantiana.
Think that's it below, mate.
Presently, Whizzer and the Archer find Doc Spectrum shoveling guns into a furnace.
There he is. Hey, Spectrum, looks like business is picking up, what?
Don't ride him, Wyatt. Joe's been having a rough time of it lately.
Hey, look, you may have known Joe Ledger longer than me, but I think I know him better. Believe me, he appreciates the jolly stuff.
How's it going, Joe?
Swell. Melting down guns into slag is fun. You ought to try it sometime, Stan.
Sure could have used you on the battlefield today, pal. I almost got myself offed. If it hadn't been for old Stanley here.
I'm still not ready for any combat assignments, Wyatt. After what happened, I just can't come to grips with using my power prism for anything but stupid make work like this.
It's been over a month, mate. When are you gonna forgive yourself for what happened to Nuke and get on with?
You don't know what it's like, Wyatt. I may never get over it. In the meantime, if the squadron isn't satisfied with me hogging all the non-combat assignments, they can take this bauble and give it to someone else.
Hey, slow down, Joe. No one thinks you're a shirker. We're here 'cause we're your buddies. We ain't come to lay any trips on you.
I know. And I appreciate it too, guys. Say, I'll be done with my task here in a few minutes. Either of you want to come with me to Nuke's grave?
Sure, Joe.
I'd like to, but I'd hope to stop in on my wife for a few minutes before tonight's meeting, all right?
Sure, Stan. My regards to Maddie and little Tina. And soon, Dr. Spectrum places flowers on Nuke's grave. You know, Wyatt, I never used to think of death very much. Even in my astronaut days, floating in the void with my life depending on 100 pounds of hardware, I never once considered everything that could go wrong. I lived for danger. I was in space because there was just not enough adventure for me on Earth, and once I actually got all the excitement I could ask for, my capsule encountered a crippled alien starship. With no more thought than most people give to crossing a street, I flew in to explore it and found its sole occupant. Turned out he was alive and benevolent. In gratitude for rescuing him, he gave me the power prism, an energy synthesizer his people had created. During his brief stay on Earth, the alien became known as the Skrull, the name of his race. With the power prism, I fashioned myself the heroic identity of Dr. Spectrum. If I'd been fearless and adventure-loving before, you can imagine what using the power prism did for me. Flying around, creating giant props, tussling with super baddies like Quagmire. I loved it. I never doubted my power or my virtue for a minute. Then, while on what should have been an easy recon mission, I found myself duking it out with Nuke. Sure, the kid had flipped and was threatening people. Sure, he in effect killed himself by burning up all the air inside my power bubble while trying to escape. But I was there, and it wouldn't have happened if I'd been taking my power a bit more seriously. If just once I'd have considered there was more to life than fun and games. But I didn't. And so a good kid died before reaching 21. Because of me.
Joe, I can't tell you I know what you're going through. I got into this business for other reasons. Never had your kind of power. But I think what you're feeling now is probably good for you. Helping to cleanse your system. And eventually, you'll get over this. I really think Nuke would have wanted you to forgive yourself.
Wyatt, thanks. Just thanks.
Say, mate, before we take off for the meeting, there's something I wanted to talk over with you. My own brush with the Reaper today got me thinking heavy thoughts about my own life. It really hit me that I ain't gonna be around forever. I figured maybe I ought to stop stalling and ask Lady Locke to marry me. What do you think?
You old hound dog. I think that's a great idea. Lark's one heck of a lady. You better march her down the aisle before someone beats you to it.
And I can count on you to be my best man?
You bet your bottom arrow, Cupid. So when are you going to pop the question?
Probably tonight. Right up to the meeting. Assuming I work up the nerve. I might be shaking in my little gold booties at the thought of proposing, but it sure looks like I managed to get Spec to lighten up a bit.
Golden Archer smiles sheepishly as Doc Spectrum carries him away from the cemetery. And at the Squadron Supreme's headquarters later that night. Next item of business. With the successful conclusion of today's operation at Fort Largo, we have now impounded every lethal weapon owned and used by the armed forces in the 117 military bases in the country.
Those civilians who opposed our gun registration program on the grounds that only the authorities would be allowed to have guns are going to have to come up with another objection.
There still remains the chore of getting state and local police to give up their firearms. I think we're going to have more trouble with them than we had with the military. You may be right, Eagle. Now, any other new business before we figure out tomorrow's work assignments? Tom Thumb?
I'm happy to report that I've just finished the prototype of my latest invention, one that is going to be the greatest boon to our Utopia program yet. Squadron, it's with pardonable pride I present to you my behavior modification program.
Tom Thumb proudly wheels out his new creation, a helmet attached to a computer.
Why does a dwarf pick tonight to drag this meeting out? Who cares about another cruddy gadget when I got something important to do later? With this device, we can eliminate crime. You just put this on the perpetrator's noggin and zip! It modifies his brain cells to replace any negative tendencies with positive ones. I used it on myself, and it cured me of biting my nails. With it, any criminal can be reformed, turned permanently into a well-adjusted, useful member of society. I'm through with all my tests. We can begin wide-scale field tests tomorrow.
That's magnificent, Tom. This means we can begin our decriminalization program even sooner than I expected. Let's all give Tom a round of applause.
Now, wait a minute, team. I don't remember us ever discussing the ethics of using this behavior modification machine. Before we go out like knights on a crusade, I think we really ought to ask if this piece of hardware is a good thing. I didn't see anything wrong with our gun control program. That was taking something away from people. Guns that only have one purpose: killing. Everyone here is against killing. But this is different. This is not taking away hunks of metal from people. This is removing a piece of a person's mind. A chunk of their personality. No matter how noble the cause. That sounds wrong to me. You misunderstand, Amphibian. My machine doesn't take anything away from the human brain. It introduces something new into it. The idea that certain behavior, criminal behavior, that a person used to find acceptable, ain't anymore. And so he can't bring himself to do it. You're still tampering with free will. I agree to go along with our plan to correct society's problems. But we're not talking society here, but individuals. Wrong, Amphibian. Not individuals, but individuals who have broken the law and been convicted of crimes by a jury of their peers. Once a citizen chooses to violate the laws of our society, then he forfeits the right to the sanctity of his mind. But society's laws are arbitrary. We have no such laws in my native ocean. Those laws could change overnight, so we start brainwashing jaywalkers and litterbugs. Am I the only one who...
Personally, I think the process may be unnatural, against the way of nature. People are the way they are for a reason. The machine will subvert that. I don't think the people are going to go along with it. When the public learns we're destroying brain cells, we may really lose our credibility.
The B-Mod machine does not kill brain cells. Look at these blueprints. See for yourself. Anyone else have something to say before we put this matter up to a vote? Princess?
I say as long as there are individuals whose goals are not in keeping with the greater good of society, something must be done to protect society from those individuals. This machine is the most humane way to do it that I've ever seen.
Maybe we could make the machine voluntary to the prisoners at first. Offer them immediate parole for submitting to it.
Archer, anything you'd like to say?
Oh, me? Nope.
Then let's vote. All in favor of implementing Tom's device, signify by raising your hand. The hands go up. The majority favors use of the machine. Amphibian and Arcana abstain.
Looks like I'm outvoted, again. Well, just don't even think of asking me to use that thing on anybody. I'm really starting to have my doubts about belonging to this group. I'd best go swim. Clear my head. Minutes later, when the meeting is officially adjourned. Anybody wants to see how easy my B-Mod machine works, gather round.
When you first told me what you were working on, Tom, I imagined it would be far bulkier than this. Excellent design work.
Say, Linda, love, there's something I've been meaning to talk to you about, in private. Mind taking a walk with me?
I'd planned on taking a nice long bubble bath. Well, okay, sure.
Joe wishes Wyatt good luck as he walks Lady Lark out into the moonlit evening.
So what is it you wanted to talk to me about?
Hold your horses, woman. Take a moment. Enjoy the warm night air, the chirping crickets, the twinkling stars.
Okay, I'm enjoying them. Now will you tell me why you're acting so odd?
All right. I guess there's no point in me beating around the bush. After all, you and I, we've known each other for years now. And I don't know about you, but I never kept any secrets from you. Well, maybe one or two. So, what I'm trying to say is I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, and I wondered, well, How about if you and me get married?
Married? This is so sudden. So out of the blue, Wyatt. I don't know how to...
Hey, after all the time it took me to get around to asking you, I don't expect an immediate answer. Take your time, think it over. All I can say is that I realized I love you like I'll never love anybody else. And I could think of no better way of showing it than getting married.
I've got to go in now.
Sleep on it, babe. Talk to you in the morning.
He fires an explosive arrow into the sky in celebration.
Yahoo! I did it! Ha ha! I did it!
Inside, Lady Lark walks through the complex past the other squadroners hanging out.
Only wished I'd finished a month sooner, Hype. Maybe I could have cured Nuke's insanity before he...
Easy, chum. A simply incredible touchdown, but there's a red flag. No, 2 red flags on the ground. Just listen to that crowd roar.
An A+ in spelling? That's wonderful, honey. Now call your mommy back to the phone. I've just got to talk to somebody. I dare not approach Eagle, not with Wyatt's friend Spectrum sitting next to him. Maybe Arcana's still up. Arcana, you sleeping? Huh? Oh, Linda, what is it? I'm in an awful predicament. I just have to talk about it with someone. Archer's proposed to me. I can tell he's serious about it, too. Only, I just don't feel about him the way I used to. I was actually going to get around to telling him that, too. But now he's sprung this on me. Oh, Arcana, how can I possibly let him down easily? Does it have to be so messy, so unpleasant? I was once in the same situation, Linda. Long before I met my Philip. I actually didn't handle it all so great myself. I think the fairest, most honest thing you can do is go to him, tell him how you really feel. Be gentle, but be firm. I also recommend you get it over with as soon as possible. The longer you wait, the greater his expectations will grow. Thank you, Arcana. I'm so glad you were here for me. Oh, Linda, there's something I've been dying to share with someone. What? I guess it can wait. Go, do what you have to. Mine can wait till tomorrow. That was silly of me, almost distracting her like that. I was just overcome with a sense of closeness. I wanted to open up my heart to her, like she did to me. But considering her troubles, I doubt she'd be in any frame of mind to share my joy at learning I'm pregnant again.
Lark leaves Arcana's quarters. And...
no sign of the Archer anywhere inside. He must still be out here. Guess I'll just wait here by the door until he shows up.
15 endless minutes later.
Hey, beautiful. Waiting for me? Guess it didn't take too long to make up your mind, huh?
Why? Believe me, this is as painful for me as it will be for you. I've given your proposal a lot of thought. In fact, I've been giving our whole relationship a lot of thought for some months now. First, I must tell you that I'm very flattered by your proposal. You're a very fine man. A decent man, a good soul, and I've never regretted any of the time we've spent together. But even though there's so much about you that I enjoy, admire, even love, I'm just not sure that I'm ready to commit myself to marriage with you just now. Maybe it's all my fault. Maybe I'm still not ready to give up on my dream to sing again. You knew me before I became Lady Lark. You know how much my music meant to me. When I had the accident, and I was given my new vocal cords, you were there to help me piece my life together again. It was you who got me into this crazy crime-fighting business. Well, I've been doing this for years now, and you and I have been an item on and off for just as long. And I really can't see myself doing this forever. If the opportunity to regain my singing voice presented itself tomorrow, I'd give up my hypervocal powers in an instant. And I know you could never accept that. Not really. I know that you could never share what I value most in all the world with me. Face it, Wyatt, there's no room for music in your soul. I know that. I've always known that. But it didn't matter that much to me before. It was enough to just have good times together. Well, when you bring up marriage, you're talking about something permanent. I just can't see that you're really the right man for me. Someone I could spend the rest of my life with. I'm just sorry we never talked about this before now. But you never wanted to talk. You just wanted to...
Blast it! What you're saying is that you don't even want things to be like they were before, do you?
After I go and bare my soul to you tell me you want to end it all right here and now, and walk away, and forget the love we've shared for the last however many years? Please, don't make this any harder than it. It's somebody else, right? You found somebody you like better than me, haven't you? I'll bet it's that winged weirdo Blue Eagle. You've been pairing up with him on a work assignment a lot lately. Admit it. It's him. No.
Lady Lark walks away, denying the accusation, because there is enough truth in it, in her feelings for Blue Eagle, to shame her. Golden Archer smashes his bow in frustration and anger.
Ah!
Hey, Wyatt, what's going on? I saw Linda run by crying and...
She turned me down flat. She doesn't even want us to see each other anymore. I think she's been messing around with Eagle. I aim to find out. And I'm gonna punch his teeth so far down his throat there'll be a picket fence.
Joe takes hold of his friend. Hold on there, pal. You're way too steamed up to do anything except make things worse. Come on, let's go take a walk.
Take his stinking hands off me.
He shrugs him off and cocks his fist. Go ahead. Take a poke at me if it'll make you feel better. You know I'm not going to hit you back. Hit me if you want to hit somebody.
You asked for...
Oh, man. I don't want to hit you. I just want... He puts his arm around Wyatt's shoulder to console his broken heart. Come on, Wyatt. Let's go take that walk. 2 hours later.
I gotta thank you, mate. I really needed to talk. Let off some steam. If you hadn't been there, I might have done something foolish. Get myself kicked off the team.
No sweat, Wyatt. What are buddies for, huh? Now I suggest we both hit the sack. 7 o'clock roll call is going to be here before we know it.
I'm still not sleepy yet.
I think I'll raid the commissary before I turn in.
Good night, Joe.
The two friends part ways, and the Archer heads for Tom's lab.
Hey, Tommy boy. Burning the midnight oil, I see.
Archer? Listen, Goldie. If you're just here to bust my chops again, give me a break, okay? I got work to do.
Who, me? Bust your chops? Heaven forbid.
I kid you a bit, but it's all in fun, you know? Anyway, I was hoping you'd show me how your behavior-changing machine works. I'd have liked to have listened to your demo earlier, but I had some personal stuff to take care of. You're interested in my work? This is a surprise. Sure, I'll show you how it works, if you really want. As I told the others, operating it's a cinch. Watch, after you put the perpetrator onto the helmet, all you do is punch up this access code, and speak clearly into the mic here the nature of the behavior you want to modify. The machine does all the rest.
You say the behavior change is permanent, hmm?
Does it only affect the part of the personality that has to do with the certain behavior you're modifying? That's right, Wyatt. The rest of the person stays exactly the same.
How subtle a change can you make? Could you make a person stop liking ice cream?
Yep. How about make a person fall in love with another person? If you want it, sure.
Well, thanks for the private show, Tommy. I'd better turn in. You look kind of bleary yourself. Suggest you do the same.
Yeah, I will. What came over him? It sure ain't like the Archer to take an interest in my work, and he never once called me midget. He must have decided to stop acting like a jerk, I guess. 4:30 a.m. in the squadron dormitory.
Finally. I thought they'd never all be asleep.
The Golden Archer stands by Lady Lark's bedside as she sleeps.
How beautiful you look, me love. Something to help you sleep.
He uses a sleeping gas arrow to keep her that way as he picks her body up.
How long as nobody wakes up and sees me.
In Tom Thumb's workshop, Wyatt places her in the behavior modifier.
Now, let's see. I punch up the access code. THUMB. Linda Lewis. When you awaken, you will love... Wait a minute. Can I really go through with this? Make her love me against her will? Is there anything really wrong with that? The love we shared in the past was a good thing. What could possibly be wrong with making that good thing live again?
He activates the machine, changing both of their lives forever.
You will love Wyatt MacDonald, the Golden Archer, with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul, and you won't ever be interested in anyone else again.
The next morning, just before roll call. Say, Wyatt, I gotta tell you, you really look strung out. You sleep at all last? Linda bounds into the meeting room, overjoyed to see Wyatt. What's Linda so bouncy about at this hour?
Oh, Wyatt, there you are.
She throws herself into his arms.
Oh, darling, I'm so sorry for what I said to you last night. I don't know what came over me. I've changed my mind, if you'll still have me. Yes, I'll marry you. Let's do it right away.
Sure. They kiss deeply, to Joe's approval, Arcana's shock, and Blue Eagle's suspicion. Turnabout. The Golden Archer has been captured by a gang of villains known as the Institute of Evil and subjected to a truth serum.
Okay, Decimal, let him have it.
Ooh! With pleasure. I do believe he's under the influence. I'll start with an easy one. Golden Archer, relate the circumstances that led to your capture. Spare no detail. All right. The squadron and me, were down south rounding up a renegade army unit who refused to go along with our gun confiscation program. The force field belt I was wearing to shield me from gunfire got wrecked, and I came the closest to dying that I've ever come. Me brush with death made me decide to get a move on with me life. So I asked me girl Lady Locke to marry me. To me shock, she told me no. I was stunned. I'd always thought the babe was nuts about me. In me rage, I wrecked me best bow. That night, I drugged Locke and carried her off to where Tom Thumb kept his brand new behavior-modifying machine. Having her love me again was more important to me than anything else in the world, so I used the machine on her. The next morning, sure enough, Lady Locke was crazy about me again. Tommy's machine worked like a charm. She said she just came to her senses and wanted to marry me if I'd still have her. Cool, she practically wanted to do it right there on the spot. None of the rest of the squadroners knew what I'd done. Only my best mate Dr. Spectrum knew that Lockie turned me down in the first place. Everything was great, and we set a date for our wedding. Only thing was, the machine worked too well. Locke loved me all right. In fact, she wouldn't leave me side. She was smothering me with affection 24 hours a day, and nothing I could say or do would convince her to give me a little breathing room. The rest of the squadron began to notice her daft behavior too. I felt like some of them suspected what I'd done. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I ran away. From her, the squadron, everything. I guess you blokes found me before the squadron did. I'd recognize the shape's clammy, creeping flesh anywhere. Without me bow, I didn't have a chance. That recitation was exemplary, dear Archer. Now, Apex, shall I query him about the location of the squadron's secret headquarters?
In due time, Doctor. First, I want to hear more about this behavior modification machine.
Hey, Lamprey, I think Loverboy is going to get fallen arches by the time the Institute of Evil's through with him. Ha!
You're a riot, Quagmire. A regular riot.
Sheep think Archer look dumb, Foxfire.
You and me both, Pudgy.
And as Golden Archer's interrogation continues at a federal penitentiary in upstate Vesperia, the contents of a mind are not being examined, but altered. This is Calvin Maroney, inmate M901, serving his 8th year of a life term for 2 counts of homicide, 4 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of weapons smuggling. Pleased to meet you, Mr. Maroney. I am Hyperion, and the lady is my associate Arcana. Please, have a seat. As the warden has announced to all of you inmates here, this process that we have developed is totally painless. Further, if you voluntarily undergo treatment, you will immediately receive a full pardon for all of your crimes, and be allowed to walk free from this place this very afternoon.
What'll I do when I get out? Who's gonna want to give a murderer a job?
The squadron has begun a job and relocation service for ex-convicts like yourself, Mr. Maroney. I wouldn't worry about the future. Ready, Arcana?
Calvin Maroney, from this moment on, you will feel a deep regard for all living creatures. You will be incapable of doing anything that might inflict injury or death. You will no longer covet the property of any other person or group of persons. You will...
Minutes later, when the procedure is finished.
Wow, I don't know what you folks did, but I feel great. Like a great burden has been lifted from my mind. This is unbelievable.
Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Maroney. You are free to leave. The front desk will give you information on our job program.
Have a good life, Mr. Maroney.
So, Warden, how many more prisoners are left? 67.
At 5 minutes per convict, we'll never finish today, Hyperion. We'd better call it a day and come back tomorrow.
Excuse me, Hyperion, but could you tell me a bit more about the jobs you have lined up for me and the rest of my staff once the last prisoner is let go? I'll prepare a list of job opportunities for you by tomorrow, Mr. Hurst.
I really had reservations about the rightness of using the B-mod machine on these convicted criminals. But my mystic perceptions detect no lasting psychic trauma so far.
Arcana packs up the device.
All packed up, Hyperion, courtesy of my magics.
Oh, I hadn't meant for you to have to do the cleanup all by yourself, Arcana.
No problem, Hi. I wouldn't want my talent to get rusty.
And soon, they fly away from the prison.
So far, all the prisoners and wardens have been cooperative. What's going to happen when we run into some that aren't?
We'll just have to cross that bridge when we come to it. Later, at the team meeting, I was beginning to worry that we had yet another member missing in action.
Sorry.
Dr. Spectrum, any clues as to Golden Archer's whereabouts?
No, not yet. If Wyatt's run away as it appears, he may not want to be found.
You and Lark can continue your search tomorrow. We can't afford to let Archer's disappearance go uninvestigated as long as we did Nuke's.
Nuke. How am I ever supposed to get over my contribution to his death when everyone keeps bringing it up? Listen, Hype, I know I'm one of the Archer's best friends, but in light of how I bungled the last missing person's assignment, maybe you ought to reassign it to...
You're our best hope, Spectrum, and the Archer's next item of business.
Ease it, Joe.
Tom Thumb, how are the spare B-mod machines coming along?
I should have 2 more done by week's end. Sure could use a hand. Think you can spare anybody?
The other 7 of us can barely handle the workload now. Only thing I can think of is to cancel all leaves for the immediate future.
Now wait just a minute. As it is, I only get to see my family less than once a week.
Same here.
I get land sick if I don't get... Alright, scratch that suggestion. If anyone can think of something to help solve our manpower shortage, the floor is open to your suggestions.
Meanwhile, the Institute of Evil plan to use the information they forced out of Golden Archer to attack the Squadron. They now know everything about the team, their base, and their secret identities. They split up and kidnap all of the heroes' families and loved ones. Next, they shut down the base's security systems and invade, while only Tom Thumb is there to defend it. Though he fights valiantly, he is soon overpowered and disarmed. And the energy-leeching lamprey absorbs his force field, leaving Tom helpless. The Institute demand to be shown the behavior modifier as Tom's artificial intelligence Ada springs into action.
Master Tom has been captured. My directive is clear.
Instantly, the artificial intelligence data analyzer broadcasts its pre-programmed emergency signal. Across the nation, the 8 active members of the Squadron Supreme receive the signal in a tiny transceiver crystal implanted into the bases of their skulls. Dr. Spectrum and Lady Lark somewhere over Moorland.
Joe, do you hear it? The distress signal. What can it mean?
Hope it means somebody's found the Archer. The Wizard and Hyperion at the Vesperia Federal Penitentiary.
Aye, the signal.
Warden, I'm afraid we're going to have to call it a day.
Amphibian and Power Princess at the Westinger Gun Factory in Olmsted.
You hear what I hear, Zarda?
Afraid so, Fib. Foreman, continue with the dismantling. We'll be back as soon as we can.
Blue Eagle and Arcana at the New Babylon State Penitentiary. No matter what your crimes, you will be granted immediate parole if... Excuse me. Kana, the signal.
You'll have to excuse us, boys. Something's come up.
Probably time for their coffee break. The Institute of Evil tear apart Squadron headquarters until they find Tom's lab in the behavior modifier. After locating Tom Thumb's lab.
And this must be the famed behavior modification device. Am I correct, Thumb?
Curse you creeps! I'll never tell you how to make it work.
Get stuffed.
No matter what you do to...
No need to tell us, Thumb. Thanks to Golden Archer, we already know.
They put the machine on Tom's head.
Is the helmet securely in place?
Yep.
Tom Thumb, from this moment on, you will detest the members of the Squadron Supreme and be loyal to the Institute of Evil. You will...
3/4 of an hour later, the first wave of Squadron members finally arrive. Blue Eagle, Lady Lark, Doc Spectrum, and Arcana enter the base.
Our front door's been broken into. Who do you think did it? We still have any number of enemies at large.
Greetings, Squadron. I'd strongly recommend that...
Decibel, you!
Tom, what?
The Institute of Evil!
Lark unleashes her power on Doc Decibel, but to no effect.
It is futile to use your vocal powers against the man who gave you them, my dear Lark. I am surprised at you.
Can't let Lamprey touch my wings. He'll drain their power. Blue Eagle hits Lamprey while avoiding his leeching touch, and Arcana finds herself countered by Quagmire.
Give it a rest, Jonesy, baby. My muck's more than a match for your hocus pocus any day. See?
Quagmire draws the ebony matter from some extra physical dimension over which I have no control.
The shape swings a large, blob-like hand at Doc Spectrum.
Shape pound, Cape Man.
The shape attacking me, but I swore when Nuke died to never use my power prism in combat again. But if I don't use it, I'm going to get smashed by a few 100 pounds of oozing flesh. Gotta protect myself. Blast me! He throws up a shield just in time. Tom turns on the monitor, revealing the captive Archer and the Squadron's families. Hey, Squadron, quit your scrapping and look here.
You tell him, Tommy, baby.
Look like anybody you know?
I'd advise you crumbs to give up unless you want your darling loved ones to bite it.
Mom!
Phil and the kids.
Stan's wife, Zarda's husband.
Wyatt!
This is no trick, Squadron. Defeat the Institute and the hostages die. Okay, you fiends, we all surrender. But I swear to you, if any one of them is harmed in any way, the 5 of you are corpses.
Remind me to shiver, Wingnut.
Tom, what happened?
I'm one of them now, Larky, thanks to my machine.
Feels great, too. You'll find out soon enough.
Power Princess and Amphibian arrive 4 minutes later and are persuaded to surrender without incident. 11 minutes after that, the Wizard and Hyperion finally make their entrance.
I imagine Hype and I are the last to arrive. We may be the 2 fastest, but we also had to travel all the way from the West Coast.
Wizard, slow down. Let's go in together.
The Institute of Evil, and the Squadron just sitting there. What's going on?
Aha! The last of the mighty Squadron.
The gang's all here. Hyperion, watch!
Lamprey jumps on Hyperion and saps his power.
Gotcha, Hypesy. I get a rush leeching your energies like I get nowhere else.
My strength, fading. So weak. Can't stand. Stan, don't do anything.
Hype! They've got Maddie and Tina!
Upon hearing his wife and child's name, the Wizard freezes in his tracks, his thoughts racing at a speed no other living brain can match. The Squadron is in danger. They may need someone with his speed to help them. But his family? He sees them on the video monitor, also in danger. His family or his friends? Who shall he aid? In less than a second, he weighs every possible course of action, shouts a bitter curse at the Institute too high-pitched for the human ear to hear, and races 1 mile in the direction of his family homes, some 1,000 miles away. It takes 3 seconds before anyone is aware that he's gone.
Wizard, he's gonna try something. Why'd he?
Blast, missed the creep. Come on, we better get the rest of these bums under our influence before Twinkletoes tries to come back and pull a fast one.
Hyperion is their most powerful member. We shall convert him first. Thumb, if you would be so kind as to wheel your behavior modification device in here. Now, just in case you people temporarily forget the extreme jeopardy your loved ones are in, and try to resist the process, we shall take a few precautions. Quagmire, you have Spectrum's prism covered with your stuff? Yep. I am certain you'll find this sonic baffler a nice fit, my dear.
Dr. Decibel gagged Lady Lark with the device.
Foxfire, blind the sorcerers with your bioluminescence.
I wish this were permanent, Arky.
Tom brings in his invention.
Here's the machine.
Soon.
Not enough strength to even grit your teeth in anger, eh? A few minutes from now you'll be smiling, my erstwhile enemy.
Hyperion is modified first, as planned. Stan stops his super-speed escape to phone his family, but there's no answer. He calls a neighbor next, who confirms they're missing and their door is broken in. Stan panics and finds the nearest gun storage and grabs the deadliest machine gun he can find before returning to the Squadron's base. He sneaks in through Amphibian's waterway and bursts into the meeting room.
Die, you bloodsuckers!
Surely none could anticipate the Wizard's savage, uncharacteristic attack. But as the Golden Runner lets loose with a deadly barrage of high-caliber bullets uncannily aimed at his 5 tormentors, the Squadron intercepts his fire. Hyperion, Zarda, Arcana, and Spectrum block all of his shots from hitting the Institute members. Until the Wizard's bullet clip is empty.
You fools! They did get to you! What should I do now? Where's Thumb? I'll grab him and...
Lady Lark and Dr. Decibel double-team Wizard with sonic attacks, and he is down. It
It takes 500 feet for the wizard to attain the speed of sound. He never has a chance.
It's so unlike Stan to go berserk like this.
At least now he is ours. Thumb, prepare the machine.
Like his 8 colleagues before him, the wizard undergoes the behavior modification process under the direction of Dr. Decibel. The Institute's mission a complete success. They pack up the 2 completed B-Mod machines and load them and their newly formed allies aboard the Squadron's air cars. 2 hours later, 3 crafts bearing 14 superhuman beings alight on the rooftop of the Institute's current hideout.
Welcome, Squadron, to the Institute of Evil. Institutors, I commend you. The underworld owes you an undying debt of gratitude. By defeating the Squadron, you've made the world safe for criminals.
Yay, safe! The mind-controlled Squadron are finally reunited with their captive loved ones. Arcana!
Son, Stan!
Oh, cripes.
It was your stratagem, Madam Ape. We simply carried it to fruition. Ain't it the truth?
As spokesman for the Squadron, I just want to say that we're all proud to join your ranks, and we hope you'll show us a better way to use our powers than we have been using them.
That will be our pleasure, Hyperion.
Squadron, take 'em! In an instant, they all turn on the Institute of Evil. Dr. Spectrum contains Shape in a bubble as Amphibian and Zarda pool their strength to knock out Lamprey. Tom and Wizard hit Dr. Decibel high and low. As Stan yanks off his helmet. Blue Eagle takes down Quagmire with a flying kick. Lady Lark tumbles Apex out of her robotic shell as Arcana blasts Foxfire. And Hyperion rips open the fence surrounding the hostages. Here's the last of 'em. Bubble 'em, Spectrum. You know, Hype, it's been so long since I've been in a combat situation, I almost forgot our assault pattern. You did fine, Thumb. Everybody did. I wouldn't have minded getting in a few licks myself, but with my strength, I don't dare hit any human being. You okay, Mother?
I'm fine, Jimmy. Worried, Phil?
A bit.
Oh, Maddie! Maddie!
Bunch of ruckus is what it was.
Okay, Tom, spill it. How is it that the B-Mod device didn't work on us?
Well, I'm the cautious sort. Just in case somebody tried to use the machine on us, I programmed it to recognize all our brain patterns and automatically reject any alterations it's told to do on them.
People, I'd like to thank you all for knowing enough to play along with our foes until we found our friends and families. Of course, Tom's wink as he put the helmets on us was a good tip-off.
I couldn't tell Hype when I got cautious. Could I, Archer?
Spectrum, I'm glad to see that you overcame your aversion to fighting and up to pitch in.
Yeah, guess I did at that. Hyperion, I'm sorry that I deserted the team and nearly fouled up everything. I'm willing to resign or accept any punitive measures the group cares to give me.
I think we're all entitled to an error in judgment or two, Wizard. No harm done.
How will any of them ever trust me again?
Inner Circle. Arcana stands on a rocky outcrop and summons her magic.
What Mommy doing?
Shh, Andy, you'll see.
No offense to Arcana, but between you and me, Hype, I think this stunt's a bit beyond her capacities.
We'll soon find out, Tom. Below her is a massive complex being built for the Squadron to live and work in. For almost 10 minutes, the sorceress Arcana Jones has stood motionlessly atop the southwestern wall of the huge crater, concentrating, summoning all of the eldritch forces at her command. At first, her fingertips seemed to sparkle. Then the sparkles coalesced into small glowing spheres around her hands. Now those spheres had become incandescent orbs of white light, rivaling the brilliance of the morning sun. Then, soundlessly, the bubbles of light burst, and when daylight resumes its natural intensity, the entire complex has vanished from view. You did it! Good work!
That's it, Hyperion. That spell should keep Squadron City invisible until such time as I counteract it. Holy! When I think of what it would have took to camouflage our spanking new headquarters complex using high tech, I'm flabbergasted. City go bye-bye. Mom made it invisible, Andy, just like our house used to be.
Arcana takes the others down to the new settlement, where her family is greeted by Stan's wife and kids, and the children play together in safety.
Meanwhile, Hyperion carries Tom to his new lab. And in the laboratory complex. This place is looking good, Tom. How's it feel to have a whole building to take the place of your one-room workshop?
Still ain't used to it yet.
Looks like you and Apex have most of the apparatus unpacked.
Oh, Hyperion! Tom Thumb! You're back! Good! I think I have it. A way to manufacture these force field belts for a fraction of the cost of your prototypes.
Hey, what goes on here?
Look, Hyperion, here's one of the low-cost models. With all of the gun factories shut down, we could easily convert them into force belt manufacturers. Imagine personal protection for every citizen in America.
This is fabulous, X. In the months since you joined us, you've really been a great asset.
Grr. Glory-hogging baboon?
Thanks, but all I'm doing is refining the work that Tom Thumb has already done. He's the real genius around here. I'd be nowhere without the breakthroughs he's made.
Hey, how do you like that?
Well then, keep up the great work, you two. The world is counting on you.
You got it, big guy.
Hyperion next flies past the construction crew building the rest of the complex. Zarda says the ex-convicts they hired are working out great, and Quagmire tries his best to help by providing shade for them. Soon, Doc, Spectrum, and Lamprey aid with the construction. Morning, Lamprey. Spectrum.
Hi.
Checking up on us, Hype? If you want to call it that, Joe. Just taking advantage of an unexpectedly light schedule to touch base with everyone. How are your sessions going?
You mean, has the psychotherapist gotten me to come to terms with Nuke's death yet? Well, I'm not ready for combat duty, if that's what you're subtly inquiring about.
Joe, I'm not questioning your convictions. I'm just concerned about you. That's all.
Right. Talk to you later.
Elsewhere in Squadron City.
Hey, Shape. Quit fiddling with that faucet. I want to talk to you.
Okay, Phoebe. Shape talk.
I want to ask you about the behavior modification process we used on you Institute of Evil members to convert you to our side.
Yeah?
Did the process hurt in any way?
No.
Do you feel different now? Like you're missing memories or emotions or anything?
Shape always been this way, Phoebe.
Do you like what we did to you?
Sure. Now Shape have lots of friends. Have something good to do. Squadron nice to Shape.
What's the use? I'm the only squadroner who believes the behavior modification process is wrong, but none of the people we used it on is able to speak up against it.
Amphibian! Shape!
Shape, don't mention what we just spoke about to anyone, okay?
I won't, Phoebe. Hi, Hyper. Looks like our artificial lake is almost filled. Come up with a name for it yet?
Sure, Fake Lake. We couldn't have chosen the site for our new headquarters any closer to the ocean, could we? I'm 2 hours away by our fastest means of travel to the closest real body of water.
Sorry, Kingsley. You were outvoted on the matter.
Yeah, that's been happening a lot lately.
I recommend you take up your grievances at tonight's meeting. Maybe Thumb can work out a pipeline to the ocean for you. In the meantime, why don't you cool off? Go for a swim. You'll feel better.
Go soak my head. That's what he means, that self-righteous know-it-all.
Phoebe say something?
Nope, nothing at all.
I think the pressure of trying to save the world 24 hours a day is really getting to us. Spectrum, Whizzer, Amphibian, even Lark and Archer have not been themselves lately. That's half the squadron right there. I was hoping the building of this new headquarters complex would boost morale, but so far, no go. Hyperion lands near Foxfire on the loading dock.
Hello there, Hyperion.
Hi, Foxfire. That's a great new costume you have on.
About time you noticed, Muscles. I've only had it for a week.
Isn't Lady Lark supposed to be here with you, supervising the supply deliveries?
She took off just a moment ago to check on the Archer.
What's with that woman? It's like she can't stand to be away from his side for more than an hour. If her private affairs start getting in the way of her duties, I'm going to have a talk with her.
Don't be hard on her, handsome. We could all do with as much loving as she's got.
And at the squadron's hospital facility, Blue Eagle circles the building outside. I'll wait to speak with Lark when she's alone.
Oh, come on, Larky. Cut that out.
I know you don't really mean that, Wyatt, sweetie. I know you really love it when I lavish my tender love and care all over your poor battered bod.
You want me to dislocate the rest of my blinking bones? Is that it?
Okay, you silly goose, I'll let go. Now tell me something. When are we finally going to get married? You proposed to me, remember? Now you're the one who's dragging his feet.
I know, you gotta give me time to recuperate first. Now, listen, if you really love me as you say, you'd leave me now and let me have me rest.
Oh, you're so impossible. All right.
Lark leaves him to head outside.
Good day, Lady Lark. Doc, you gotta help keep the woman away from me. All her affection is driving me bonkers. Come, Archer. There are some things one can never have too much of. Besides, I can't even get the dear lady to forgive me for what I once did to her as the misguided Dr. Decibel. I doubt I could persuade her to do anything you could not. Yeah, Doc, I persuaded her all right. When she turned down my marriage proposal, I lost all reason and used a behavior-modifying device on her to make her love me. Later, I got so ashamed of taking advantage of her like that, I ran away from the squadron, got myself captured, the arms and legs mangled. But the worst of it is, there's no turning Lark's mind back into what it was.
Outside.
Why, it can be so exasperating sometimes, but I love him all the more for it. The way I feel about him. It's so amazing in its intensity. I never knew I could love somebody so much before. When I think of that night he proposed, and I turned him down, I feel sick to my stomach. What got into my head to do such a thing? Does anyone understand their own heart?
Blue Eagle swoops down to talk to her.
Linda!
Huh? Oh, it's you, Blue Eagle.
Can't even call me Jim anymore, can you?
I'm very busy, Eagle. I don't have time to...
You're going to make time, lady. Something strange has happened to you, Lark. Maybe you don't see it. Maybe nobody does but me. But you're not acting at all like yourself. A month ago, you were on the verge of splitting up with Golden Archer. Now you're his love slave. Explain it if you can.
You're just jealous, you winged monkey. I don't have to explain anything to you. Now get out of my face.
She hits him with a sonic scream.
My ears. Something is definitely wrong with her, all right. And I think I know what it is.
Meanwhile, in another hidden base somewhere in America, Tom Thumb's archenemy and also a master of technology, Master Menace, watches the squadron's plans take shape from his refuge, while working on his own plans. He sees Tom defending the use of the B-Mod machine on the news, before turning it off to greet his visitors. More villains who wish to leave the planet to seek their futures elsewhere rather than risk undergoing behavior modification like the others. He gladly allows them the use of his portal, but he himself resolves to stay and not give up just yet. The Squadron City Administration Complex, 9 hours later. For 5 months, the squadron convened in a dark cavern. For the past 3 weeks, in the nearby dining pavilion. But now, at last, the Squadron Supreme's assembly chamber is functional.
You really did a swell job in here, Tom. This even beats our meeting room back in the satellite.
Why, thank you, Whizzer. Leave it to old Tommy to design a meeting room you need an operator's manual to use. Okay, if no one has any further questions about the chamber's facilities, let's get down to business. Activity reports first. Everyone's been working here today but Whizzer and Blue Eagle. Whizzer?
I'm afraid we've got something disturbing to report. We were at Huxley State Prison about to implement a behavior modification program there when... Here, I'll play the holotape. The man with us is Warden Daniel Yates.
Not use that infernal brainwashing machine on my prisoners.
Didn't you get the notification of our visit in the mail, Warden? It explains.
Sure I did, and I tore it up.
If you're worried about not having a job once the prisoners go.
That's not it at all. What you're doing to men like mine is morally wrong. I don't care if they are convicts. You people have no right to tamper with their God-given brains.
There was just no reasoning with the man. He absolutely refused to cooperate. We didn't want to force him. He's not a criminal after all. So eventually we just left for the next prison on the agenda.
You two did the right thing. I guess we should have known we'd encounter opposition sooner or later. What we'll have to do is give this Warden Yates some special attention, show him all the benefits our program has reaped so far, allay his concerns.
And if he still doesn't come around, what then? I'll tell you what, you'll all vote to brainwash him. And why stop there? Why not go after the newsmen who don't present us in a flattering light? Then there's...
Get off it, Fibs. Not that rap again.
Amphibian, the behavior modification process is the cornerstone of our crime prevention program. It is painless, bloodless, humane.
I like to think that in your heart of hearts, all of you know that brain mucking is wrong, and you're just doing it for expediency's sake. I'd really worry if I was convinced none of you had any doubts. Let's move on to other items of business, please. Princess?
In about 2 weeks, Squadron City will be completely finished. In no small part thanks to the former members of the Institute of Evil. What then? Do we keep them around as common laborers, when we are so short-handed in our mission to America? I move that we elect the 6 of them as full-fledged members of the Squadron Supreme.
We have a motion on the floor to induct Apex, Quagmire, Foxfire, Dr. Decibel, The Shape, and Lamprey. Discussion?
I vote that we don't let them in as full members. The way they dress and act, some of their strange powers, they just wouldn't fit in with the rest of us.
It is the essence of the utopian way to extend fellowship to all who would embrace it. The 6 have proven their worth to us.
Some of them still have a few rough edges, but now that they've been B-modded, they're as loyal to the cause as any of us. I'm even starting to like my old foe Quagmire.
It is wrong to exploit them any more than we already have. They have no choice but to say yes to our offer. We have taken away their ability to ever say no to us about anything.
I say sure, let him in. It'll show the world how well the B-mod machine works, that we got such confidence that the crooks we put through it have reformed. We even let them join the club.
I'm with Whizzer. We've got our reputation to think of. If we can't get those slimeballs to clean up their acts, they'll make the rest of us look bad for associating with them.
I'm so angry at most of them for what they did to my darling Archer. But I absolutely object to Dr. Decibel joining us. He's the one who gave me my hyper-vocal cords and ruined my singing career forever. I'll never forgive him for that. Image or not, we definitely need more help. Nuke's gone, Archer's out sick, Thumb and Spectrum are on special assignment. And I hate to drop a bombshell on you, but I'm pregnant again, and in another few months my activities will be quite restricted.
What? Huh? And after the reaction to Arcana's news has died down, I counted 4 in favor of the Institute members joining, 4 opposed. It looks like it's up to me to be the tiebreaker. I vote we induct them all, but break them into field duties slowly. We can begin their initiation first thing in the morning. Each of them will report to a different one of us core members. Any other new business before we divvy up tomorrow's work assignments?
Before the meeting ends, Blue Eagle raises a new issue.
I have some new business. It concerns 2 of the core members of our august body. One of them is Lady Lark, and if she doesn't want to hear what I'm going to say, I'd suggest she leave right now.
You buzzard! If you bring personal matters into this, I'll...
This is no personal matter, lady. This concerns us all. Very well, Eagle. Proceed. Lark, be seated. Am I the only one who's noticed that our esteemed Lady Lark has been acting, shall we say, flaky lately? Now, let me finish. Lark's always been a very capable squadron member, clear-thinking, quick-witted, brave, a real asset to the team. Not anymore. Something's happened to her that turned her on-again, off-again relationship with the Archer into a wild obsession that makes her a nutcase whenever she's not with him for more than 5 minutes.
Listen, Eagle, what gives you the right to slam her behavior? We all go through rough times, periods of insecurity and such. I'm in one right now, but that's a matter for a full-time shrink, not some winged Patinsky.
You're right, Spectrum. If this were simply a matter of a person waking up a bit flaky one morning, but that's not all that's happened here. What are you getting at, Eagle? I accuse Golden Archer of using the behavior modification device on Lady Lark without her knowledge to make her love him. I accuse Golden Archer of high treason against a fellow squadron member.
Oh, no!
Those are serious accusations, Jim.
That would explain Lark's atypical behavior of late.
You are out of your bird, Wingo! Wyatt wouldn't do something like that!
I knew it! I knew something would happen like this with that cockamamie machine! Is everyone satisfied?
No, it's not true. He didn't do anything to me. I love him of my own free will.
What do you offer as proof, Eagle? I can't prove it, but Tom can.
What?
We all know that Tom built a memory into the BMod machine, recording its transactions. We also know that Tom saved us from falling victim to the machine because he programmed it to recognize and disregard each of our brain patterns. I submit to you that Tom didn't program it so until after he discovered that the machine had already been used, without his knowledge, on one of us, Lady Lark.
What he says is true. I did discover that it had been used on Lark. I can't tell for a fact that it was Archer who used it, though.
Why had you never mentioned this, Tom?
I didn't want to betray anyone, even if they,
You're not on trial here, little guy. Archer is. Even if no one saw him do it to Lark. Who else that had access to the machine would take it upon himself to program Lark to love the Archer? If this has indeed turned into a trial, it is only fair that we bring in the accused. Spectrum, could you go fetch Golden Archer?
Sure.
Presently, Wyatt sits in the center of the room in his wheelchair. So that's the testimony against you, Archer. What do you have to say in your defense?
I'd just like to say that I'm guilty, and I'm sorry. I love Linda. I asked her to marry me, but for some reason she turned me down. I lost me head after that. I'd almost gotten killed that day, and I needed to feel closer, more connected to someone. Instead, I got kicked in the teeth. When Tommy showed me how to use his machine, I waited till he went to sleep, grabbed her, and used it on her. Having her love was more important to me than anything in the world. Now I see that it's cost me my pride, my self-respect, and probably all yours, too. Linda, everybody, I'm sorry.
Okay, Wyatt. You'd better leave while we discuss what we should do next. Spectrum?
Come on, pal. Doc Spectrum wheels him out.
Tom, is there any way to undo the programming?
Afraid not. Going through the same neuron groups a second time would probably cause permanent damage.
I don't care what he claims to have done. I love him now, and that's all that matters to me. I'm going to him.
Lark rushes out of the room. The question before us is how to discipline this unprecedented breach of conduct. Discussion? He must be expelled from the team. What he did was wrong. He used the device for criminals for his own selfish ends. He deliberately betrayed a fellow squadron member. If that's not grounds for expulsion, what is? Archer's my friend. So is Lark. We're all friends here. We can't shaft our friends because of one little mistake. I accidentally killed one of our fellows. You didn't vote to kick me out.
What you did, Spectrum, was an accident. What the Archer did was intentional. Tom, would it be possible to construct a new machine and not program Archer's brain patterns into it, so we could program him from ever doing such a thing again?
Sure, but nothing is ever going to make Lark like she was again. Besides, if we start bending the rules about only B-modding convicted criminals, we're really going to be opening ourselves up for trouble. I say we do nothing to the Archer. He's obviously repentant for what he did. He knows it was wrong and won't do it again. He suffered enough for it. Let him stay. He's needed here.
What Archer did, in essence, is to violate another person's mind. A crime no different than if he had violated her body. I don't care if he's repentant, or if we make it so he can never do such a thing again. I could not stand to have him walk among us after what he's done.
You're hypocrites, all of you. You supported the building of the machine. You supported its use. Now you're going to quibble about how it's used, who it's used on? You handed the Archer a loaded gun, and now you're shirking the responsibility of him using it. What a joke. Settle down, Amphibian. Your comments are beside the point. The point is what to do with Golden Archer. The 8 of us compose a quorum. Let's put it to a vote. Those in favor of no discipline for the Archer. Whizzer, Amphibian, and Spectrum raise their hands. Those in favor of behavior modifying him. Princess Zarda raises her hand. Those in favor of expulsion from our ranks. Tom, Blue Eagle, and Arcana raise their hands. It's a tie between the two extremes. Once again, it's up to me to cast the deciding vote. I vote that the Archer be expelled from the Squadron Supreme. I'll go tell him. Meeting adjourned.
Satisfied, loudmouth? Now that you got my good buddy booted out?
I was only interested in seeing justice served, Spectrum. That's our job, remember?
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't ram my prism down your...
Easy, Joe. You swore off violence, remember?
Yeah, well, maybe I should swear back on.
It'll all work out, Wyatt, honey. You'll see. They wouldn't.
Archer? We voted to terminate your membership. I'm sorry.
What? Well, if he leaves, then I quit too.
I understand, Hyperion. It's probably for the best. I just want you to know how sorry I am to have let you all down like this. It's something I'm gonna have to learn to live with. Later that night, Dr. Spectrum is helping Golden Archer and Lady Lark pack their belongings. Tom Thumb is at the recreation center with some of the new squadron recruits celebrating. Hyperion is studying. The remainder of the squadron is enjoying the company of their families. Amphibian is doing none of the above. Amphibian finds the B-mod machines. Here they are. Using his great strength, he destroys them all.
Amphibian, I thought I heard some strange noises.
So did I. I went to investigate. Turned out to be nothing. Actually, I'm glad you're here, Apex. You can help me with something. I want you to punch up the plans for the behavior modification machine for me, and erase them totally.
But why? I don't think Tom would appreciate...
Why, Apex? Because I told you to, and you've been behavior modified to obey every direct order a member of the squadron gives you.
Very well, Amphibian. I'll do it.
A half hour later, Amphibian takes off from the base in a flying craft. I've had it with the squadron. I'm sure Tom Thumb will be able to recreate his plans and rebuild the machine, but it'll take precious time. I've scored a symbolic victory at best, but a victory nonetheless. It splashes down and he returns to the oceans. At last, surrounded by my beloved sea, I swear I shall never leave it again. The surface world will have to fend for itself. There's nothing one man can do to stop the squadron anyway. At that moment, hundreds of miles away, there is a man who thinks differently. Nighthawk perches in a tree near the tower of a wizard. His name is Nighthawk, and like Amphibian, he too quit the squadron due to irreconcilable differences. Since his resignation 6 months ago, he has been watching the squadron's activities with increasing dismay. He has finally come up with a plan to stop them. It will begin here. End of Part 1. This is the halfway point of the story, and a good place to take a break, as most of the major arcs in this first half are now wrapped up. Part 2 should be up very soon, and will cover the remaining 6 issues and conclude this epic tale. First up, Hyperion's evil double will replace him on the squadron by pretending to have memory loss, and when the real Hyperion makes his way back to deal with him, it's a battle of the 2 strongest superheroes this world has ever known, and only one of them will survive. Also, Kyle Richmond, Nighthawk, has been assembling allies to fight the squadron for control of the world, and that story will continue in the background until it becomes the big finale. But there's more trials and tribulations, more moral quandaries and compromises ahead for the team before then, as they doggedly pursue implementing their Utopia program to remake the world in their image. How will it all pan out, and what will be the ultimate fate of the world and our heroes? Find out on the next episode of Radio Play Comics, Squadron Supreme, Part 2. An all-in-one edition will follow as well once both parts are up. But I saw how long this one was getting, and I decided I'd better cut it here. Hopefully Part 1 will sell people enough to come back for Part 2. Because if you have enjoyed the story so far, believe me, you haven't seen anything yet. Also, this is a story meant to be talked about, so please do leave your thoughts in the comments. And of course, like and subscribe, set notifications, all that good stuff. See you next time, I hope. And as always, thanks for watching.